hey. Oh, hi. I'm doing all right. Can you hear me all right, Cap? I'm good.
You're
Check, check, check. Keep going. That's me. And I have you only in my right ear, but uh, 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 ding, 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 ding. Hey, Ryan, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ryan? Can you talk to me?
yes, I can hear you. Say something again real quick.
Check, check, check.
Okay, now I'm getting it in both ears, so
Yeah.
that's good.
And Kemp, I'm only hearing you my right. Ryan, can you talk to me real quick? Oh,
I'm back.
Ryan, just give me what'd you have for lunch?
Yeah, Kemp, I'm still getting you only in the left ear, and it's still a little bit low. I can deal with the left ear, but
Where do we go now? Yeah, 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 yeah. Where do we go? Absolutely beautiful day today.
dude, really nice.
I would say this is like the nicest weather we've ever had.
The wind is a nice, cool factor.
Yep.
Is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignited. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
Hello, drifting world, and welcome to Road Atlanta. And this is the Royal Purple Road to the Championship presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Look, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, the birthplace of Formula Drift all the way back in 2004, and we are back. Yes, we're going to talk about it. We're going to see drifting today because we are going into qualifying, a new format being debuted. I am Jared Deanda. I'm joined once again. Great to see his shaved face, or shaved head, but not shaved face. I love the goatee from October last year, and here we are. It's great to look at the sun shining in our face. You're looking glorious right now, but it's great to be standing next to you, sitting next to you, and talking about drifting to our fans.
Yeah, it's been a long offseason. Jim Lau was saying that it's been 762 days since we've last been at Road Atlanta. Just to put things into perspective, right? We had a pretty long offseason. Season is starting a lot later this year, or at least a month later, and there's going to be a lot of changes in 21. But the most important thing is we're here. Fans are allowed in the house. We're ready for a full field of competition, a new qualifying format, and lots of really other amazing things.
Yeah, and 2021 will deliver. We're really excited about that. So maybe let's talk about Atlanta. Why is this place so historic? I mean, some of the most iconic battles, Vaughn and Osbo getting into the fight. Not the prettiest, which I know, iconically and ironically has been one of the funniest statements that I've ever said. And it's gone into folklore of drifting folklore with Mad Mike. But what are some historical moments for you? Again, people still get amazed that we've been coming here since 2004.
Well, and with so many new fans, I think a lot of fans may not know that this area that we call the keyhole up here is actually something that the track 18 years ago decided to pave and pay just for Formula Drift to come here. Yeah. And I think it's become one of the most iconic parts of any track that we go to because it is so unique and it allows drivers to not only go one direction in the track but down the opposite direction. So from a historical standpoint, I think that's awesome. Obviously, the monster trucking with Vaughn Gittin Jr. was amazing. The Kristaps Blues falling off the
Not
jack
falling,
stand.
driving off of the jack stands.
Lots of really cool things have happened here over the years. This is one of the most fan favorite tracks. It's one of my personal favorite tracks, and I think that is also something that the drivers feel.
Yeah, no, you definitely feel it. It gets exciting. So just an FYI, we are actually opening up our live stream for practice. This hasn't been done before, and I know my boy Rutledge Wood, he's at home right now. He says, hey, are we going to be seeing practice? And actually, yeah, you will. You will be getting to see 1 hour of open practice, but we wanted to kind of give you some insight on what's going down here this year, what's going on last year. So let's maybe elaborate a little bit on the 2021 schedule, Ryan. You said fans are here, they're in the building, and that progresses for our next few rounds as well.
Yeah, and I have to say that I don't think that had we not done what we did last year with the teams and our staff and all the sponsors kind of coming together and saying, you know what, COVID is out there, there's a lot of restrictions, but we need to be able to do some events. We need to be able to pay off a lot of the things that we're responsible for as trying to run the series and drivers trying to run their programs. I'm more confident now today that if we didn't do that, I have a very hard time believing that we would be running a 2021 championship. Yeah. What that has allowed us to do is have a full 8-round championship, including Long Beach, which is now moved to September, and still having Irwindale at the final event of the year. but also a brand new event at Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Erie, Pennsylvania, also a brand new event that was intended to be in the 2020 schedule, which is E-Town, Englishtown Raceway Park, Old Bridge as it's known kind of clinically, but E-Town to drifting fans. I mean, this is a track where Chris Forsberg, Tony Angelo, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ryan Turk, Matt Petty, Club Loose, all those blood masters out there. This track is now the first ever American purpose-built drift coliseum, so I'm really excited to look at that. So speaking about that, we go to Orlando. 100% occupancy. We are allowing people to come in, obviously within restrictions, but then also E-Town, and then also the fourth round, which is
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And this morning in the drivers' meeting, I was able to get permission from Jim Lau, the president, to basically say that the first part of the season, the first half, is going to be open to fans. And we know that the remainder of the rounds already have some openings, but as it stands right now, we are going to be able to have fans at the first 4 rounds pretty much at 100% capacity.
Yep.
And that is not something that we really thought would be possible coming into this year. But things have changed. We're super excited, and we're also looking forward to going to Erie, which we're going to check out in a couple weeks, do a site inspection, looking at it from, preliminary photos and videos, and talking to the track staff. I think it's going to be a really fun event.
Yeah, big oval, and make use of that as we have over the years. So again, this is just practice. That's why we're talking over it. But there's Matt Field, and we're seeing Taylor Hull back at it. Brand new fresh suit, looking like the intimidator that he is, full pull hole, and of course the beast from the Bay that is Matt Powers. So let's backtrack here a little bit, because 2020 was interesting. For some drivers, it really dominated because of that 2020. Yeah, exactly. So that 2020 experience with the double headers, some drivers really liked it. They go drive on Saturday, thrash, get it back together, and they, thrash again on Sunday. What were your thoughts? I mean, like you said, I think you said if we didn't do, a condensed version of a Formula Drift season, 2021 wouldn't happen. Would you ever like to go back to a double-header format? And maybe what are some of the driver sentiments, and what have you heard?
Look, I mean, I think everybody was willing to accept something like what we put together last year. There was obviously big positives in the fact that we were able to do events and have a championship. There was obviously a lot of downsides too. We didn't have a qualifying system that we could utilize to give a merit-based entry into drivers going into the top 32. We just didn't have that, so we had to come up with a unique way to see things. Now that is gone, and we're back to a form of qualifying, which we'll talk a lot about in the second introduction as we get closer to qualifying. But in terms of liking the double headers, it could be something for the future. They're really, really difficult, and especially with the way that we've kind of formatted the Pro Spec Championship this year, it's going to be equal billing for Pro Spec and Pro on any given weekends, where Pro Spec qualifying and Pro is going to be on Friday, and Pro and Pro Spec top 32s are going to be on Saturday. So it's going to be a full weekend.
Yeah, it's really going to be action-packed for especially those Pro Spec to the Pro competitions going out there. But all right, want to take another look at 2020 in regards to a driver that rose to the occasion, and we're talking about Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. was absolutely, it just seemed like he was dialed. I mean, he had four podiums overall out of those 8 rounds, and unprecedented. So I think it all came together for Vaughn Gittin Jr. last year, and I don't think that, because when it was first announced that we were going to do a doubleheader events, or four weekends, it's kind of like, oh, is this going to mean something to whoever wins the championship? And early on, it's kind of like, there might be an asterisk next to it. After the season culminated and all the hard work, it really just got condensed, and the work, even though it was, not spread out like a normal 8 rounds, I think the work was maybe just equal or even harder on the doubleheader weekends.
I want to pick up on something you said there. I don't think that the challenges that the drivers went through last year in terms of competition was any less challenging.
Not at all.
It may have even been more challenging,
exactly.
Right, as you said. And so I think in a certain kind of way, that might be a more meaningful championship for Vaughn. Obviously, in the last round, we saw Denofa jump up into second place. It was crazy battle between the Mustangs and the Toyotas all throughout the year. But Vaughn looked like the Vaughn of old, and
Yeah.
as he's in kind of the twilight of his career, he's saying a lot of different things about what he's going to do in his future. I think it was a very well-deserved championship, and I'm really looking forward to see how the team is going to perform this year.
I think Chelsea's the one to watch, and like you said, you know, it was the battle of the Mustangs and the Toyotas. We talk about how the season culminated. It was Vaughn Gittin Jr. on top, Chelsea Nofa second, Ryan Turk in third, and Frederick Osbo in fourth. Also, I think one to watch is Odie Bakshis. I mean, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Really would like to see him take it to the top. But, you know, some tire companies are out, some tire companies are in. We're really excited to see, you know, with different drivers, you know, they've been on a particular tire manufacturer many years, and now they're changing all up. But again, Vaughn Gittin Jr., hats off to him. He is your two-time now Formula Drift champion in 2010, and now he is your reigning and defending Formula Drift champion. Let's take a look back, and when we come back out of this video package here, I want to let you know that enjoy the sights and sounds. We're going to lay out, let you guys listen to the cars, watch them burning some tires here at this iconic track. We're here for the 18th time ever, or I should say 17th time because we weren't here in 2020, but the 18th season of the Formula Drift Championship. When we come back, enjoy the Formula Drift practice session. Again, we'll be back on track with qualifying at 8:45, so stay tuned. Again, on behalf of Ryan Sage and Jared Dienda, let's take a look back at Vaughn Gittin Jr. and his 2020 Formula Drift Championship season.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the biggest moment of this event is Vaughn Gittin Jr. capturing his second championship. And coming into Irwindale, it really was kind of wide open, right? We had 5 guys that could win the championship. And it seemed like Ryan Turk had a real opportunity to do that, along with his teammate Frederick Osbo. Because of the way that the bracket was getting set up, Osbo and Gittin were going to meet early. Osbo had the ability to take him out. But right out of the gate, we saw Osbo make a mistake, go into the wall, he gets shut down, same as Turk, and Papadakis Racing has a disappointing final round. That basically gave Vaughn Gittin Jr., who had secured enough points with those back-to-back wins and a podium in Texas, the championship. And if you think back about how this all came to be, you really have to go back 10 years ago when it was the last time that he won a championship. He'd been fighting to try and get back to that level. And it's crazy to think that as a 17-year veteran, where you would think that you would be in the downslide of your career, he's now on top of the world. So to have somebody like Vaughn kind of re-ratchet down on what's important to him and figure out what he needed to do to be successful and then focus on that and come out with the championship is just absolutely huge.
Didn't brake soon enough. I mean, Aaron was in a decel zone when he hit him. I'd really hate for Turk to go out like that.
But wouldn't that mean that you win the championship?
It certainly would. It certainly would mean that.
We got it? Championship up. Woo! Oh, man.
We ain't done yet, boys. We ain't done yet.
Woo!
Good job, guys.
Your champion of the 2020 Pro Formula Drift Championship is Vaughn Gittin Jr. Congratulations, Vaughn Gittin Jr. grabs that 2020 FD Pro Championship in the Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D.
Yeah, I mean, look, holding this gigantic, heavy trophy is a really huge testament to our team and our Ford Mustang RTRs. You know, these are the moments that you realize and just are overwhelmed with gratefulness. You know, these sports like this that you need to compete at this level require a whole nother level of passion and commitment, and it can't be driven by anything but want and belief. Can't be bought, you know? And I'm just so thankful for the group of people that trust me and my vision and choose to spend time of their life to support it. And for that, I'm extremely humbled and grateful, and I'm just so proud of them. I'm definitely proud of myself, and I'm really proud of Chelsea. You know, coming in here, you know, I wasn't thinking about the championship. I just wanted to battle one by one, and then we are in the championship. We knew that, and then Chelsea just kept fighting and grabbed second. And not only did we leave with a 1 and 2 for our team, we helped Ford earn the manufacturer's championship and Nitto the tire championship. Like, what a freaking fairy tale year in a year that everybody hates. 2020 has not been good to a lot of people, and we've just continued to see the glass half full and to power through all the challenges, and this is a testament to that, and for that I'm grateful and proud.
Features, news, and videos that car folks love. To check it out, head on over to motorlife.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our Motor Life newsletter so you won't miss any of this great car-centric content.
There's a part of me that thinks that, the back and forth between drivers on social media or the things that get said about, this guy intentionally brake checked me or whatever, only to find out that, the driver admits that it was a car malfunction and that it wasn't intentional, because there's no question that there was a tension between them and in the general fan base from Denofa and Forsberg incident in Seattle last year. So when we started to see that in round number 2 that they were going to be facing each other, and we heard what Chelsea said coming out of round number 1 about how he was going to change his driving style, and then we saw Chris's kind of reaction to that from Lorette in the interview.
Okay, and you're going to see battle against Chelsea Denofa. What are your expectations there?
Well, based on what he was saying last night, he's going to kind of go for it, and he's not going to listen to the FD rules or judges, and he's driving his own way. So I'm not quite sure what that means. So I'm just going to do my best, and we'll see what happens.
Chris, good luck.
Thank you.
Jared, Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. And like I said, those guys have history going against each other. I kind of like it, man. This is like WWF.
I know that Chelsea said ahead of time, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to drive the way I want. I'm not going to listen to them. And I think people misinterpreted the them as the judges. So perhaps it was his team, perhaps it was somebody in his inner circle that told him, you need to chill out a little bit, just, back off a little. And in that battle, he didn't back off, as he said he wouldn't, and he ended up winning the event.
Like, I've been doing this for 17 years. I know what to do in the chase. I don't really need to worry about what they're doing, if they're doing something different or whatever. So, stop worrying about what they're doing. What they're doing to me is wrong. So I'm just going to drive how I want to drive and then chase them the way I need to chase them. Instead of setting the car up different and trying to adapt to other people, I just said, screw it, and I'm just going to do it myself. So Chris has always been a phenomenal driver. We've definitely had our differences. I've been into the side of his car more times than I can remember in acceleration zones and whatnot. We've had our beefs and whatnot, but we're all out here to drive, try to do the best we can and win. So nothing's really changed when it's time to drive. And I got to battle him in top 16 in St. Louis, which was basically the battle for the win. The rest of my bracket was really good, but Chris was killing it that weekend. He had the fastest car, and he was on point doing everything he needed to be. So I was like, I need to chase really, really good, and my lead run needs to be so much better than his. And that's basically what we did. We had good chases, a couple small mistakes here and there in the chase, really, really, really strong lead runs, and he had a couple small mistakes in the chase, and we ended up getting it one more time.
On my next run, I wanted to make sure that I was nice and tight at the initiation, and so I kicked it in, and the car didn't rotate as quick as I wanted to, and the front end started to wash out, and I kind of got lost in the smoke, and then I just basically came out of that turn too early, so transferred too soon. So it's unfortunate, getting lost in the smoke is one of the dumbest ways to go out, but that's part of the sport, so you got to push through it and come out in the right spot on the other side.
And I think it was just based off really, really good lead runs, strong chases, and not smashing into everybody, letting them do their differences and then driving right onto their door. Because once everybody's on throttle and doing everything, it's pretty much the same. It's just how you get to each section that's different. So I was just focusing on making sure I had good proximity to those points and then closing it where we needed to.
The vehicle, here we go. Denofa out front. Forsberg in the chase position, a little flick there from Denofa. Big angle from Chelsea out front. Chris Forsberg falling back quite a bit, maybe getting lost in the smoke. A tighter line there from Forsberg, way shallow on that front clip from Chris. Denofa filling all that third outside zone. And here comes Chris on that fourth, and he loses it on the transition. And Denofa delivers out front right.
I loved the chase all the way to the turnaround. That was the best.
Yeah, that got weird. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I pulled the brake. I'm like, I'm going to hit him.
Went wide, so I'm like, go pass on the inside. It'll be sweet. I would have been that worked out really good. All right, man. Yeah, I think that Chris and I could be friends. I mean, I think we're all good. We've had a couple chats since then. I mean, I'm not going to bring you into all of the drama and all that, but it's, we're all out here doing it. We're killing ourselves to make all this happen, and I have mad respect for him for that aspect. Some of his driving I'm not a fan of, and, that doesn't mean I can't be friends with him still.
So I think part of this we have to kind of take with a grain of salt, right? It's basically professional athletes, boxers, MMA fighters, kind of boosting up something that maybe isn't really, really there. But when they go home at the end of the night and they sit down and they say, did he really brake check me? And if they're honest with themselves, they're probably thinking no, right? And maybe that's something that they squash behind scenes and it's no longer an issue anymore. I don't know. I think part of this is just, this is what happens in sports.
Welcome out to the first round of the Formula Drift Championship. This is the Royal Purple Road to the Championship presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. If you're watching either here in the building, that is Road Atlanta, this iconic track kicking things off in 2004, or if you're watching from the comfort of your own home, thank you so much. It's great to be back here again. I know from fans all across the globe are watching currently, so excited to see, again, all of the Instagram posts, hashtag FDATL, at Formula D, not Dree. It's been a while since we've talked, right? It's 700, how many days was it, Ryan? 700?
Here it's been 762, I think is what Jim said.
Yeah, wow. So it's great to be back here at this iconic track. Ryan Sage, Jared Dienda, we'll get Ryan Lontaine popping in here. We'll elaborate about qualifying right when we get to that portion of the show, but the sun is setting, the lights are turning on, Ryan, and again, it's great to be back here with you, all the fans. Ryan, any sentiments you want to throw out there?
No, yeah, for fans that are just tuning in, we're looking at kind of our first little blip at a new qualifying format, and part of that is broadcasting the pro warm-up. So what you're seeing here is the top 32 drivers that are registered for the event, warming up their tires, their vehicles, themselves, everything they need to get ready for this new qualifying format, which will break down as we approach that 8 o'clock, 8:45 hour leading up to the first round of the year.
Yeah, KFQ, it's being debuted here for the first time, and you said 32 drivers. Unfortunately, we came in with 33, but one driver unable to make it to the start line. That is Ryan Littoral. So unfortunately for him in that power stop, brand new S15, I know he's scrambling to get it here, but unfortunately does not make it to the start line. So, and also in the qualifying, this is the qualifying order. We start with our #1 qualifier. We're obviously with our first round. We go off of the finishing standings at the end of the 2020 season. That is Vaughn Gittin Jr. at the top of the heap. So that's how the qualifying order will go. So thanks for joining us either here in the building or online. On behalf of Ryan Sage and Jared Dienda, and of course Ryan Lontaine, our judge, and our whole staff, it's so great to see you. We're going to send it here again, local time 8:45. That is in about 35 minutes for our qualifying.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast's choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
Honestly, I think the Achilles 123S. So consistent, so much grip.
I love being on Achilles. It is incredible. The tire is incredible.
It's the best tire that I've ever used. Tons of grip. It's just so consistent, precise, very predictable.
Having a tire that's consistent all the way through from when it's cold to when it's roasting hot is very important.
I really wouldn't want to be on any other tire.
Made in Japan. Breed.
Yo, Chelsea, the coloring on our NGK spark plugs looks incredible for handling 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah, I know. I've been telling you for years. I've been running NGK plugs, and they're awesome. Did you know that NTK is part of the NGK family, and they make all sorts of sensors like O2 sensors, temperature, pressure, position, and ignition coils.
I did not know that, but maybe we can talk them into making proximity sensors to help you with your bumper budget.
Now available at Advanced Auto Parts and CarQuest Auto Parts stores.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast's choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
So if you are here in the building or watching online, thank you guys and gals so much. We will take a short break, and when we come back, we're officially having our first qualifying over 700 days here at Road Atlanta. A new format, familiar faces. Who's going to win the first round of the Formula Drift Pro Championship? This is the Royal Purple Road to the Championship, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Jared Deanda. Joining me as the sun is setting, the lights are coming on, our judges are getting into position because they are going to be scrutinizing these drivers' runs. 32 vehicles start with 33. Unfortunately, one is parked, but 32 vehicles will be doing competition tomorrow head-to-head when we come back qualifying here at Road Atlanta.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
Came up a lot of sounds, more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about.
Hold on. All right, welcome back, everybody, here live from Brazelton, Georgia, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, kicking off the 2021 championship. Live here at nighttime, a brand new qualifying format as we get things underway here. And Jared, it's been super exciting in the offseason watching the drivers prepare. And for a very long time, only maybe a couple weeks ago, did we find out that we were going to have a full field of drivers.
Yeah.
And not only is it full, it's at 33. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Ryan Littoral was having some issues with his car. That means we have 32 drivers. Everybody will find their way into competition tomorrow, but it's going to be under a new qualifying format.
Yeah, this qualifying format really shakes things up, as well as some tire companies, entering into the picture, some tire companies going out of the picture, and I think that's the notable thing here. We're seeing some of the tire manufacturers come in, and it's changing the dynamics. Their sidewall, talking about the width and how much their vehicle weighs dictates the size of the tire. So when you get a taller sidewall, you're going to get more side bite. Or if you have to change manufacturers that you're used to, been running for 5-7 years, you change things up. That's like changing from Nikes to Adidas, man. The game has changed, right? And I know you're a New Balance guy, and I'm more checks over stripes. But it's interesting. But again, qualifying. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this format is called Knockout Qualifying Format. It is where all 32 drivers will do one lap. After we do that one lap, we will take the bottom 8 drivers. They are knocked out of the first group. They go into the second group, and they must do a second lap. But here's the catch. After that second lap, they cannot get any higher position than the guys in that first group. So what that means is that this first run is extremely important. It means drivers are going to risk a lot more because they want to be in that first group. They want to get those high qualifying spots. And, of course, here are the things they need to do. Run the designated line, maximize their angle while maintaining momentum, initiate with a big rate to angle. That's something that has been a big emphasis over the past couple of years. And, of course, those fast and smooth transitions.
That's right. So we talk about just, again, all these elements combined, talking about qualifying. So basically we'll, doing the math here, 32 drivers, 24 drivers will be locked and not have to complete their second run. The 8 remaining drivers will have to do their second run to basically slide them into the bracket. And there's our qualifying leaderboard. That's how it will shape up. Remember, in previous years, we start from the bottom, work our way to the top. Not the case here in 2021. 2020 is, shake things up quite a bit. We didn't have qualifying. I really think this format is going to be interesting. We really want to get to the essence, the head-to-head, and this really comes into play, pro spec and pro. And, let's maybe talk a little bit about some of the drivers that are, rookies here, where we have a few new drivers, notably Cash Racing, that of Mr. Hurst, as well as some newcomers. We have, what's his name with the Toyota Supra? Simon Olsen, coming to us from Norway on the Federal Tires. He has that brand new Toyota Supra with a 2J. Any other drivers kind of stand out in your mind? Because drivers are switching vehicles as well.
Well, there's definitely some stories. Remember, the previous year's Pro 2 champion, Trenton Beecham, took a year off because of COVID. He's back. He's coming into pro, exercising that option. You mentioned Jonathan Hurst and Simon Olsen. We also have Josh Reynolds. Back is Federico Sharifo.
Yep.
And, of course, we have Brandon Sorensen, who got a pro license 2 years ago. He also took a year off for COVID, and now he's back to try to see how that young man can do against these top contenders in the sport.
Yep. And there's our previous champion histories. You could see, obviously, Vaughn Gittin Jr., most recent. He hasn't been a champion for 10 years, and then he comes back in grand fashion. Would love to see James the Machine Dean here in the mix. I think that's a variable that always changes things up. Some other names we don't see on there that have retired many moons ago, Reese Mill and Sammy Hubinette, Tanner Faust. But all the other drivers still in the mix. Here's our season schedule. Here we are, Atlanta. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, for all the moms out there celebrating on Sunday. Happy birthday to my wife tomorrow. I always miss her birthday for 17 of the 18 past years. Orlando, we're going to be out there. Again, 100% occupancy. Ryan just did confirm that. E-Town. We're going to E-Town, baby. The first ever U.S.-built drifting coliseum. Come on, East Coast. We need you coming out. Erie, Pennsylvania, brand new track, new facility, July 31st, Monroe, Washington, Evergreen Speedway. I love that course. St. Louis, Missouri, we're back at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Then, because of the Long Beach Grand Prix shifting from early in the year, that's where we normally start the season, those menacing walls are coming into play September 17th and 18th. We slide into the streets of Long Beach, and that's going to be interesting because usually we start the season at the Widowmaker, as I like to call it, the track that the very unforgiving walls, now going into Irwindale, one of the most iconic tracks in drifting history and in folklore. We're going to be celebrating my birthday there, October 22nd, 23rd, Irwindale, California, and it all culminates, but it all comes down and begins here in Atlanta. Always love this track, love the fans, and I'm excited, but it's just qualifying, man. Thanks for joining us here. Round 1, this is the Royal Purple Road to the Championship presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. All right, we are back, and we are about to begin qualifying our driving order. As we said, we're going to be seeing Vaughn Gittin Jr., and let's take a look at this track with our Torque Drift course preview. This track visualization is powered by Torque Drift, a free-to-play drift game on iOS, Android, and PC. Download it and play it now. Torque Drift going down.
Yeah, this is really cool. When I first heard this idea come across my desk, I was really excited that these guys were willing to do it. They basically took an exact replica of Road Atlanta, took our champion Vaughn Gittin Jr., and basically tried to lay down what the judges are looking for in terms of qualifying. Here we have our first inside clip. Then back up the hill, you have the second area here, outer zone number 1. The really infamous keyhole here, starting outside zone number 2. Fans tend to get a little bit sprayed there. Here's inside clip number 2. Now in the past, we have had an inside clip here, but now that is just a marker area. Here's a touch and go going down the hill, and then the final inside clip where they really want the drivers to push through that finish line there without spinning out. So there you go, Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting a 100-point run on his first lap.
That was the simulator. Speaking of Vaughn Gittin Jr., he is back to take on this year's championship and defend his title. He's driving his Mustang RTR on tracks like Cali Banks, Long Beach, and Atlanta with up to 10 friends and compete in 16-player tournaments. Yeah, 16, and more for free on iOS, Android, and PC. So download Torque Drift, download it, and play it now. Oh man, it's again, it bears repeating. Coming back here to Brazelton, Georgia, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, as we're going to kick off our NOS Energy Drink qualifying and our Men's Journal knockout qualifying. Men's Journal, our new lifestyle media partner. And there is our qualifying leaderboard. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. starts things off. How he ended them on top. Vaughn Gittin Jr. in that Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5D. A nice feverish crowd here. How are we doing out there? Atlanta, make some noise. Oh, listen to that. The excitement, the eagerness, and just the anticipation. It is so great to see all the fans out here smiling. There you are. You're up there on the big screen. We want our bunker back. Yeah, I know. I get it. But you know what? It's great to see you. It's great to see some signs. Well, I haven't seen any signs. How are we doing, homeboy? Homeboy lurking over the shadows. Yeah, we got the sand people. Sand people down there in the corner. Don't worry. They're coming back in greater numbers, too.
Yeah, I've missed this, man.
Right?
I really
Did you just have a moment?
I really have. Not just being at an event with fans, but being at Road Atlanta with fans.
Right.
There's something special about it.
It is interesting. I talked about it. I don't know if you heard me, because obviously we're busy doing multiple things up here, as you are, marketing co-founder of Formula Drift. But I mentioned the schedule there this season. We always talk about, I think the Widowmaker starting the season off. Hey, man, you've worked so hard. We're going to throw you into this really unforgiving course, and you can totally write it off. So now we're going to throw that track right at the end. Right at the end. And we're going to throw in round 7 of 8 before Irwindale.
Yeah, your chassis broken at the beginning of the season. Maybe you could limp back.
Maybe. I mean, we saw, Ryan Turk ride his car off at Long Beach. We've seen Darren McNamara. Remember, he moved the wall. So, think about all of the pressure every single round. And then we throw in this massive hurdle that is the streets of Long Beach.
It's a huge bit of congratulations to those guys for pulling that event together, given that the history of that event has always been around that time of the year in April.
Yeah.
And to be able to figure out a way for not only them to do their event, but for us to participate, that was incredible. So I think the drivers are willing to sacrifice a little bit of risk, so that we could have Long Beach, and it's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to it.
I know it will. It always delivers. I mean, it's kind of like your children. You don't know which one's your favorite. But if gun to head,
you know which one's your favorite?
Atlanta.
Your kid?
Atlanta. No. I have 2 favorite kids. They're both my boys. No, gun to head in regards to FD tracks, Atlanta. Sorry everybody else. But here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr., again, our 2020 Formula Drift champion, locking up that rear. You can see that e-brake hitting that 3-wheel motion that his vehicle is so signaturely known for. Look at the Nitto tires getting the grip, coming into the keyhole. Now the outside zone, as he exits the keyhole, remember that is not a touch and go, that is not an indicator, that is just a course marker. Right there is a touch and go, just dragging that front bumper right over the rumble strip and working his way back up the hill. So that first inner clip becomes the last inner clip. So all things considered, basically every driver would like to qualify high to see where they land. We have 32 drivers. There will be no buy runs if everybody gets a score. But the real thing is, you know, they want to get in the top 24 driver spots.
Yeah, and Vaughn Gittin Jr., big, long e-brake pull here. Remember, the judges put a lot of emphasis on being back on throttle by that inside clip. He did initiate at the second standing cone, fills that outside zone pretty well here. Now as he gets in to the second outside zone, let's look at the approach here from Vaughn. Rolling right into it, gets into it nice and early, stays deep there. So far, maybe a little bit too long of a e-brake pull on initiation. But so far, through this section of the course, looking solid here. Good angle back around. Final transition to that last inside clip. And Vaughn Gittin Jr. will be our marker. A lot of pressure on him to kind of set the standard here, but the judges are also going to be setting a standard by what they saw from Vaughn in run number one. Here's a shot from the overhead, Jared. You get a good look at how close to that rumble strip Vaughn gets, just right at the edge there. The judges do allow them to get on the rumble strip without any deduction. And as they go back down the hill, they're not dealing with the rumble strips anymore. On the rear wheels, it almost becomes a front wheel situation, but Vaughn avoids it nicely and finishes up strong there on that last inside clip. And here's the FPV. Look at that. Beautifully done on that inside clip by Vaughn. And you can see super close on that inside clip. Here's the rumble strip we were talking about. He gets right out to the edge of it there. And we have seen drivers damage their wheels if they go too far off. There actually is a couple areas that are a little bit tricky to navigate, but I think in terms of the smoothness, the rate to angle, the transitions from Vaughn look pretty good. The only thing I think that he could improve on if he had it over again was the initiation, the long e-brake pull. Yeah, that e-brake pull, and when that wheel stops, that's just showing that you're kind of low and you're getting that car to slide a little further. Interestingly enough, when you pull that handbrake, that causes the rear end to actually go further out back, and it's going to cause you to, just slide out towards the back end of the vehicle. So our three judges this year, Chris Ewell, we got Ryan Lontaine and Brian Eggerts in the building. There they are. And there is the score, a 93 out of the gate for Vaughn Gittin Jr. That is a very good score. And again, starting things off where he ended them in the 2020 season at Irwindale, California, and that's on top. He is your #1 qualifier right now. As the Men's Journal knockout qualifying format continues, we'll continue with the 2 Ford Mustangs of the RTR team. We definitely have a few more Mustangs this year as Trent Beecham is back, and of course JTP, Justin Pollock. Justin Pollock, who ended up pretty good last year as he was up in the mix. Where was he at? I'm looking for Mr. Pollock, and he finished 7th overall last year. Here's Chelsea Denofa, who looked really good in our practice session, and admittedly, there was quite a bit of practice. We saw 3 hours that were not aired on our live stream, and then an hour as right before we went here into our knockout qualifying. Chelsea Denofa, BC Racing, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR Spec 5D. And here goes Chelsea Denofa. That gold nose brings it on in. You can see, there's a little bit, way off line. Look at that, takes out that front clip. Very uncharacteristic of Chelsea Denofa. Now into that outside zone, through the keyhole. And Ryan, this is not characteristic of what we saw earlier. Maybe a bit of announcer's curse here, as I was talking about how good he was in practice. I want to take a look at the replay, Ryan, as on initiation, it looked like, you saw him pull the handbrake, kind of quickly release, grabbed it again, and it threw him offline. So, yeah. Yeah, we got a ton of looks at this track with the various camera angles and drones that we have. You can see Denofa, lots of angle there, as you said, Jared, but a little bit too tight on that inside clip. Now, great throttle control coming up the hill. He makes a slight little adjustment here with some big angle into the first and second outside zone. Has to make a little bit of adjustment, and he's not able to completely fill that zone, so he is leaving some points on the table here. So Denofa, this one-and-done opportunity potentially, will it be enough to move him on? We saw the 93 from Vaughn. That seemed like a pretty fair score from the judges there. That will be the standard. So obviously that's going to be lower for Chelsea Denofa just because of the mistakes that we did see. The question is going to be how much lower, and then how does the rest of the field fare? Line, angle, and style. Each judge is respected to their category. We got
got, again, Chris, Brian, and Ryan. Each judge is dedicated to a particular criteria. We break it down into sectors, decel zones, and the decel zones come more into play, or momentum zones as we branded them. Momentum zones come into play primarily more on head-to-head competition, on what the chase driver should expect when chasing down that lead car.
Yeah, and the line and angle judge, their scoring is pretty structured. It's the sectors, and then they have a certain number of points that are being allocated there. The style judge has 2 categories that he can allocate points towards, and they talk a lot about that in the drivers' meeting about where those points might be allocated and what they're looking for. But I know that we're going to see a lower than usual score here from Chelsea DeNofa. This is the first time we've done qualifying in 2 years, and it's under this new format. So I think a lot of people are going to be adjusting to this.
Yeah, because we did have competition last year, but we just did not have qualifying. Look at that, an 83. So still not terrible, but uncharacteristic. I apologize, Chelsea. That was the announcer's curse, as I call it. We start giving kind of accolades, and then boom, hits a cone, has to kind of shimmy his way into that outside zone. And yeah, so an 83. So we'll move on down the line in our men's journal knockout qualifying. Ryan Turk back behind the wheel of his Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla. He's on Nitto tires. Look at that 1, 2, and 3, as it was an all Nitto tire championship. As looks like Ryan Turk comes out of the gate. Here we go. The gum out. Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Let's see what you got. Ryan Turk comes into, see him bringing into that first front clip.
Got back on at the right time.
Well done. Very well done by Ryan Turk. Now coming up the hill into that keyhole, into that first. Oh, nice job there, Ryan Turk. Now coming out. You can see past that cone, that course marker, now into that quick touch and go. Just drags his bumper right over the rumble strip and back at it again, heads back up the hill. A great way to make an introduction here in the 2021 season, Ryan.
Well, Jared, we've seen a 93 and an 83 so far, and the big drop-off for DeNofa on his run was his line and the style. And we see Ryan Turk come back now, look pretty consistent on the initiation. You can see he also had that e-brake pull, but watch, he gets back on throttle. See the smoke line prior to the inside clip one? That shows pretty much adhering to what the judges are looking for in that sector. Now, as he leaves and goes up the hill here, he's got his angle locked in pretty well. He's pushing to this outside zone here, and just like Vaughn, he almost gets right to the edge of the course. Maybe could have filled that a little bit longer and able to get a better line to that inside clip, leaving the last section of the hairpin there. Let's get another look at it again from the FPV drone. You'll see right there, just threads the needle on that outside zone, but leaves it a little bit early, and then about a foot off that inside clip. And now he goes down the hill here, charging as he points the car towards his final sector, this last inside clip. Almost home is Ryan Turk, and great job there on that last inside clip through the finish line from Turk. So I think we're going to see, an in-between score potentially, maybe right around more near Vaughn's than near Chelsea's, just because of the lack of noticeable mistakes.
Yeah, and just a very fluid line here from Ryan. I know him and Osbo were out testing a couple weeks ago. He says he loves the car, is real excited, and a lot of these drivers are just slammed in the off-season, building all these projects, the COVID quarantine projects, and they're coming out. Scores are in. What does Ryan Turk get? An 89. So great call there, Ryan. You looked into your crystal ball, and great shot right there with an 89 for Ryan Turk. Puts him in a number 2 position.
It's too early to make any claims, honestly, on the crystal ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, way too early right now.
But I'm working on it.
Yeah. All right, there's our first 3 drivers, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. sets the bar high with that 93. Next up, the Norwegian Goldhammer now. He's got that brand new Rockstar livery. And kudos to John Sabal. Great looking car, brand new Supra. Remember, if you can recall, as he debuted that vehicle and won the first round out of the gate.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, he looked like the guy to beat
in
St. Louis, right? And then
it was him and Turk, toe-to-toe.
We had the tides kind of turn a little bit. But, I saw Steph Papadakis post something saying, I've become a total fanboy of this chassis now.
Oh, wow.
And that's a kind of a scary thing.
Yeah. All right, the Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing Toyota Supra on Nitto tires. Woo, look at that, just barely kiss it with a gold nose. Gets after it. Look at that, the Type S LED lights are on, lifting that front right wheel. These Nitto tires have grip for days. Through that keyhole, let's see how he navigates out of the keyhole. See if he unlocked to top that 93 and get him. Ooh, look at that flick, Ryan. That was a nasty flick approaching that final front clip. Well done by the Norwegian Hammer, the Gold Hammer, Freddie Osbo.
A lot of the drivers opting for that big, long e-brake pull into inside clip number 1, but Osbo does a good job here. You can see swinging from one side of the track to the next. Here he's locking in that e-brake pull, but watch the rear tires. He's going to start to disengage well before that inside clip, and he's flying through it in order to get himself in the right position coming up the hill here. Now let's see what he does on this outside zone. Right there at the edge of the track, beautifully done by Osbo. Big angle here. He gets into the zone a little bit early, leaves it a little bit early, so maybe a few points deducted there. Little tiny tap of that inside clip as he wraps through and leaves the keyhole. Now coming down the hill, the car gets a little unsettled for a second, but Osbo back on it.
Snap, bam.
Gets that touch and go, and the final inside clip, massive plume of smoke, and the wind that we had that was pushing everything off during the practice is now kind of slowed down a little bit, and it's certainly making it challenging out there for the drivers, but Frederick Osbo, good pull on run number 1.
Yeah, how much do you think like muscle memory is coming into play here, Ryan? We always talk about that, and we've been running this setup basically, you know, started at the bottom and now we're here because we're all the way at the top. The way they enter the keyhole is now, I think, a much more fluid way, working your way all the way up and then going back down. How many years, if I can recall, it's probably been about 7, 8, 9 years that we've been running it this way as opposed to entering at the lower point and then working its way out?
Keyhole was much earlier on, and it had to been during the Andy Yen, the early days of the Andy Yen era, because I can remember he was the one that wanted to do that. And some of the drivers said, oh, no, it couldn't be done, so we practiced it. It could be done.
Woo, look at this. We got a tie. But, again, it defaults to style, so I believe we'll see if that's unofficial. But a 93, so and yeah, so again, line, angle, style. Ryan, if you could break it down for those that are just tuning in. But the tiebreaker, because Vaughn and Freddie have the same score, it defaults to style first. And then where does it go from there?
That's the first tiebreaker, and then we go to angle, then we go to line. In this case, Frederick Osbo did have the higher style score, so that's why you see position number 1 there. Line and angle, what the judges have basically said is, look, here's the line that we want you to run. And these sectors that they lay out all have points attached to them. And so the angle that they're looking for is stuff that is able to be done at a maximum level there. And then they're assigning points based on how they've described it in the driver's meeting. So line is like, this is how you got to run it.
Right.
Angle, run the max angle, and then style is all about fluidity and commitment.
All right, so Vaughn had a 37 in style, so just by 1 point in that angle category. Now here's Chris, the Force Forsberg. He is up next. And I talked about tire changes. He has changed manufacturers. He is now on GT Radial, piloting this NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on GT Radials. Here we go to that first front clip. You can see him wavering there, just barely kisses that front clip. And he's bringing on up the hill. Look at the fire out of that VR under the hood. Woo, these guys are getting grip, man. Again, talking about that 295 with a 40 sidewall. That is more side bite for these drivers that have switched from other manufacturers into this GT Radial. There's a tire that he's never ran before in competition. So I know he's got to be feeling pretty excited about these changes and also a little bit nervous at the same time.
Yeah, you know, Chris coming off another really good year. I think at one point he knew that the championship was out of grasp, but he's continued to be consistent in his very long career, still sitting on those 3 championships tied with James Dean. But let's take a look at the qualifying here. He does get back on throttle before that inside clip. Wrapping up the hill here, big smoke line from Forsberg, the 3-time champion, trying to find his way into this first group. He also is going to be a little bit off outside zone number 2, but he is able to get pretty close to the inside clip at the finish of the keyhole here. Now driving back down into the smoke that he created. As we get a look here one more time at the angle that he was able to create into that inside clip, leaving the keyhole. Now wrapping back around, you can see that is his own smoke line that he's driving through, which is certainly very, very tough when the wind dies down like this. Last little touch and go and the final snap back for Chris Forsberg. Let's see where the judges end up. You can see the NOS going crazy there.
No, that's fires out of the turbos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the exhaust. That's absolutely fire. So yeah, that VR Power 370Z. He says brand new build, new setup for him. He went with a bigger turbo. Didn't want a bigger turbos. Excuse me. Listened to Maximum Driftcast. Shout out to Sam, Paco, and Corey. I listened to that on my flight in yesterday. Had some great insight talking with you, Ryan, about qualifying. Larry Chen, Federico, and that of Chris Forsberg and even Dylan Hughes. An 88 there for the Force. Chris Forsberg making his debut on those new GT radials. All right, Ron Baugh, I know you're tuning in. You're a big fan of the bow tie. Under the hood of this next vehicle of Odi Bakshi's, there's our first 5 drivers. Odi Bakshi's running that LS for quite some time, and a very seasoned driver. I think he's going to be one to watch, Ryan. I mean, just over the years, Odi has just really progressed, and I think just consistently one of the best chase drivers that has just really coagulated and really brought his game together.
There are guys that you say these are the best drivers who don't have championships. The first drivers that come to name are Odi Bakshi's and Chelsea DeNofa,
Yep.
right? And it seems like they should have had one by this point, but that just goes to show you how challenging this series can be. Recently, I had a chance to watch Odi at the Formula Drift Skills Battle presented by Turn 14 Distribution, and he seemed like he was ready to go for this year. Put a lot of work into the car. Obviously, has put a lot of time in the offseason. His preparation to him, at least to me, to my eyes, seems like it's a very important part of how he gets ready for the season. And everybody's got a different level of preparation, but Odi seems to really take it seriously.
And I think, he's expanding to pro spec. He has a pro spec driver under his wing, so I think that adds, just another layer of depth amongst all these drivers. A few drivers are doing that, including Chris Forsberg and a few others that are really nurturing other drivers and other vehicles. Here we go. Odi Bakshi's, this Falcon Tires S15. Here we go. Odi Bakshi's throwing it in. Nice job there. Look at that. He is really on the throttle. Minimal handbrake pull. An absolute rocket coming now into the horseshoe. Let's see how he handles the outside zone. I think the temperature changes are really making a play here. Odi absolutely wound up coming out of the keyhole. Massive angle from him. Look at this. I mean, he seems possessed right now. We always talk about Odi's demeanor kind of being cool, calm, and collected. That was not cool, calm, and collected whatsoever, but very fluid, but also violent at the same time.
I think the judges are going to reward this, especially on the style judge. Take a look at the initiation here. This is the first driver I think that we've seen that has not used a big discriminate e-brake coming down the hill, and he's on the throttle beforehand. He's using the angle to slow down the car. Now it's going to be the line and angle there in order to get those good, get the points that he needs to match with the potentially good style score. Right here, he does leave a few points on the table, not getting fully into that outside zone. He is able to pinch back up to that inside clip really quick, and as you said, violent driving from Odi Bakshi's, looking incredible. Can't wait to see how he chases him down. Let's get a look at this last little section here as Odi Bakshi's finishes up his run. So Odi looking good, first run of the year, and looking solid there.
Yeah, I really like that run there from Odi. We'll see if he challenges the 93s of Vaughn Gittin Jr. And as the scores are getting tabulated, our next driver will be another Falcon Tire, teal and blue of JTP, Justin Pollock. And we talked about the debut of his new chassis. He really likes that backwards entry. See if he can do a backy here on the entry. Even coming into the horseshoe, he throws just a little more stank on it. So we'll see if JTP can put it down. Here we go. 93, look at that. So a 38, but again, defaults to angle. So he gets that number 2 spot. Looks like he might be jumping ahead of Vaughn Gittin Jr. So is 93 just the magic number right now, boys? Doing it for the boys. Ferda. All right, now you can see as he goes into this horseshoe, I think that's where he left some points out on the board. Just didn't fill all of that outside zone. I think temperature has come into play. It's been a beautiful day. I mean, shoot, let's call it what it is. I'm in shorts, you're in pants and sweatshirt. You really go flip-flops and tank tops right now or go full bundled up, and you're going to be fine either way. It's just that kind of day. Probably one of those beautiful days we've ever had here at FDATL. But as far as the track conditions change, that's going to happen. So, like I said, I mean, the Falcon guys, they know their tires. They've been on them for quite some time. The gentlemen that have switched tire manufacturers, they get a variable a little bit. All right, JTP, Justin Pollock, the Type S lights are on.
Wow, it was interesting. Well, remind me to tell you something about Odi's and Oswald's score when we get it open here.
Thank you. Here we go, JTP, Falcon Tires, Ford Mustang. Yes, sir. Look at that flick. I talked about it, and that was, oh, there it is. And again, we know he loves that snappy backwards entry transition, but I believe this is going to be an unscorable run, Ryan. So I know he was kind of, not questioning, but interested in how qualifying shaped up as far as the knockout qualifying format, and I believe that could potentially be an incomplete. Let's take a look at it again, Ryan. And this is not, where he made the mistake. Normally you'd see him kind of backwards entry here, but he did on the transition. Really weird.
Yeah, it was on the flick back around right here. Just a lot of momentum and a big angle, and the car has to pull out of it. Now, I think by standards of previous years, that's going to be an incomplete. Obviously, that would fall under an unchaseable lead, and he kind of has to reinitiate, so I don't see it going any that way. So Justin Pollock may be our first driver going into the bottom 8 if he does receive an incomplete on his first run. And as the judges are talking about, they just wanted to go back and take a look.
All the 93s and how that was broken down?
Well, Odie and Osbo, right? They had exactly the same scores.
Yeah.
And
and Vaughn, remember Vaughn at the 93?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about the same scores in every category.
Oh, really?
In every category. So that they tied in style, they tied in line, they tied in angle, and so the tiebreaker there on that one, as far as I'm seeing it here, then becomes about rank. So Osbo was able to break the tiebreaker that way, and Odie will stay in second place. So that is pretty unbelievable.
I don't think we've ever seen that.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen that in going on 18 years of Formula Drift. That's crazy. So I want to clarify with the judges, and I believe that should be an incomplete, and that will be an incomplete for JTP. So just given the way things are going, I believe that he will have to go to that knockout qualifying, the second run. And yeah, I think just right out of the gate, we know, without talking to Lontaine, it was that mistake just straightening out. Ryan, if you would maybe elaborate there, it's that straightening.
Yeah, for sure. And just to reiterate this format, we're talking about Justin Pollock now moving out of the first group, going into the second. He will now have to run a second run, guaranteed, because he had an incomplete there. So he is our first driver to go into the bottom 8. We will see him again.
Michael Essa, FCP Euro, again another driver who's made the shift from a different tire manufacturer into a new one. Comes in hot. He's on the GT radials. You can see him ripping. Let's see how he handles coming up the hill.
That thing sounds nasty.
Yeah, it sounds
like a dirt bike.
Yeah, it sounds. Is that 2-stroke?
It sounds like a 4-stroke.
Yeah, it's a thumper coming around, and I saw Essa earlier in practice. Wasn't getting to the outside zones. I'd love to get a text from him or some messages from him. Maybe check IG and see if he's running 100%. Didn't have a chance to talk to him between practice and our short break. Let's take a look at it again here, Ryan.
Yeah, Essa drops a tire there right on the second standing cone. Big e-brake pull as well, but so you can gets back on throttle before that inside clip. That's what the judges want to see. Let's take a look at the line coming up the hill. Gets those rear tires right to the edge of outside zone number 1. Look at outside zone number 2. Jared, historically, this has been a problem for a lot of drivers, is not filling outside zone number 2. We've seen that in the past. It seems like they kind of work their way deeper as we get more progressively into competition, but it's really about that timing coming up the hill and figuring that out. And as we transition back around, Michael Essa will finish his run, gets a pretty solid start here to his campaign, and that may be enough for him to move right on into the bracket. And for fans that are just joining, we're seeing all 32 drivers do one lap. At the end of this run, the bottom 8 drivers that scored the least amount of points will have to do one more lap. They will leave the current group, and they will not be able to position any higher than any of the drivers that got a scored run to fill our top 32 bracket. So it's the lower qualified drivers that will have to do this second lap, and they will not be able to get one of the higher positions in tomorrow's top 32 bracket. So that's why this first run is extremely important for all the drivers that want to get a good position in tomorrow's top 32 bracket.
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of taking that over there and elaborating about Essa. I'm trying to do some due diligence and some fact finding. I got a text actually from Pat Good, and he says Essa is down a cylinder. So it is confirmed that he is unfortunately, suffering some mechanical, some failures right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that is a recent thing for something that he's still been working on. Michael Essa, Jeff Jones, we're all having issues.
Taylor Hull, Tamara just texted me and she said they're having problems.
You're talking about, I was talking about recently at Skills Battle.
Gotcha.
They were all having a tough time. And I think it was in preparation for the season. They were still going to get to, what was going on with their vehicle. But I'm sure we're going to see some attrition.
Yeah, and it just comes down to, again, you take this off season, you take COVID into play, and just everything comes together. Also, there's another factor that we didn't talk about during COVID: acquiring parts. It was really difficult. A lot of these guys getting things down to the wire. And I know, like I said, Ryan Little, unfortunately, I know he thrashed. He's been working hard to get that S15 up and running. And for it to even be here in Atlanta is a shock to me. And now I live like 15 minutes from him, or he lives 15 minutes from me. But I got to tell you that just acquiring parts for all the teams.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everybody's like, man, COVID – industry's been up. I mean, a lot of
especially if we sell stuff online.
Right. Yeah. A lot of project vehicles have gotten a lot of attention lately. So Michael Essa does get a score. Not ideal for him, but being down a cylinder, that's not too bad. Maybe the work begins now, or he has to wait to see if he doesn't make that basically the bottom 8 to see if he has to do a second run.
I think we're still very early, and probably what you and I are used to is reverse qualifying order. We tend to see scores kind of go up over time because we're getting to the drivers that have held that position because of previous results and because they really know how to qualify. Now we're going in reverse order, so not only is it a challenge for the judges to set the standard out of the gate, the drivers that are lower ranked actually have the opportunity ahead of time to see what the scores are that they need to try to stay in that top 24, which is what it's going to be for this event.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall because we've changed the format over the years, with judging criteria, with judging format and how it worked. I mean, remember we had the knob thing that basically, you know what I mean? And this is just all with the sport and being able to be nimble and being able to be flexible, by the racers, for the racers. Formula Drift, as I always say, I mean, there's a revolving door on Formula Drift's door in regards to the drivers and saying, hey, for the betterment of the sport.
Yeah, we're always making changes. We've never been afraid to do that, try new things, experiment. This format in particular is what is going to allow us to give kind of equal billing to Pro Spec on those Pro Spec weekends, because there's going to be a lot of drifting on those combined weekends. We have Pro Spec and Pro qualifying on Friday, and Pro Spec and Pro Top 32 on Saturday. That is something new for the 21 season.
Love this guy, Jeff Jones. He's on GT Radials as well. Jeff Jones is going to throw it in that Edelbrock Supercharged. The 818, look at this, comes in, well done. Look at him, he's lifted, hitting the 3-wheel motion. Very fluid, consistent, coming up the hill. Now let's see how he goes, coming down the mountain into that second outer zone run, into the keyhole. Could have been deeper there, and strategy comes into play here. We always talk about, maybe get a safe run on the board. Nah, man, you need to throw it out. You could, put yourself in a really great position. Also, you want to come out swinging because if you only have one run, do you land in the 20s? Do you land in the teens? Or do you land in the number 1 spot?
The
Jeff
guys
Jones.
that are in that 23, 22 area are going to be – it's going to be scary. I mean, we're all learning for the first time about how strategies are going to play out here and what is the right thing to do. Jones on his approach, a little bit slower towards that inside clip. He was able to get back on throttle through inside clip number 1. But look at this. He does a little bit better than some of the previous drivers in outside zone number 2. Gets a little bit deeper there in the middle section of that outside zone. Now this transition going back into his own smoke line. We see him eyeing up this last little touch and go here. And let's take a look at the flick coming through the smoke line. Right there on that inside clip. So a good, strong finish from Jeff Jones. I think he will get dinged a little bit on the initiation and the slowdown towards inside clip number 1 on the onset, but he was able to kind of pick up the pace from there and give himself a fighting chance to be one and done.
All right, the Jones production, 818 on GT Radials. Get some chat there. Again, had a awesome party there at 818 Brewing, kicking that thing off. I know they're probably watching back at home. Jeff Jones from the SFV, aka the 818. Taylor Hull, as his wife texts me, says, all right, he's been struggling with that thing a little bit today. It looks great. Love to see, again, the new suit regardless. Taylor full pull Hull. I talked to him in the autograph session. He says, it just feels good. Feels great to be back here at Road Atlanta. Scores are in for Jones. Well, look at that. His number is 818. He's from the 818. His run score was 8-1. That puts him in 8th position. 818 is haunting this gentleman, or you know, it's like a little ladybug landing on you. He's 818.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all working out perfectly. Well done, Jeff Jones, as Taylor Hull, full pull Hull, comes up to the line. Always love seeing this gentleman rip out there. Love the livery, wearing the gargoyles, all of that going down. He's from right here in Sonoya, Georgia. Began his career in the early 2000s, comp cams, Nexon Tire, Yellow Speed Racing, Cadillac ATS-V. The development of this vehicle has been just really tremendous to watch. Seeing him from debuting the vehicle just looked a little, you know, wonky, just working it out, but the progression is what it's all about, where he's at now. But we are hearing that has no power steering. He's fought the car all day. He thinks he's good now, but we are hearing that, do you risk it, or, I mean, what's going through his head? Because people say this track is pretty forgiving compared to other tracks, but we've seen people hit some walls. Look at this.
I think you risk it because it's really about positioning, right? You're for sure guaranteed to make it in the show unless you get 2 incompletes. But we have 32 drivers, so I would say you risk it on this first one.
All right, well, Taylor Hull has no power steering, so he's going to be fighting this thing. Let's see how it snaps back. I mean, no signs of any injury right now. As he comes into the keyhole, is hammering down. Now, this is where it gets interesting, this big transition out of the keyhole. Looks solid right now, and I don't even feel like I need to mention has no power steering because he made that look really easy. Well done. There we go. I can hear his wife elated over there in the spotter stand. And you could probably hear her through the microphone as well.
It's always fascinating learning what challenges the drivers are dealing with after the fact. And a lot of times, because we're so close to the spotters here, you know, they can tell us things, they can text us things. And as you said, it did not really look like the issues that he is saying that he's having is really having that much of effect on his performance. I'm sure he is struggling with the vehicle, but he's still able to put down a pretty good run. Like a lot of drivers, he's leaving some points on the table there in outside zone number 2. We really haven't seen somebody just completely nail that, and I think that's just going to come with time. We tend to see that more towards the latter part of competition than oftentimes the beginning. And taking a look here at the FPV, we'll get a good look of how Taylor approached it. You can see throttle, 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 brake, a little bit of e-brake pull, and then trying to just kind of thread the needle here, Jared, to get as deep as he possibly can without taking the risk of going off into the dirt, potentially smashing into the wall. We have seen that. It just seems like going up the hill and figuring out what the right approach is into outside zone number 2 is like, it's a little tiny mistake will put you in the wall.
Absolute slivers. And some of these drivers, you know, going from outside zone 2 into the keyhole, right into that front clip, that gets hairy. Just they make it look really easy, and we saw that in practice. I mean, looks like they're going to fly off and go right into the wall, as you say. But then just hang on loosely and don't let go, baby. All right, waiting for Taylor's score, and there it is, 8-3. There it is, and 83 puts him into 8th position. I think that should be strong. We'll see if he holds on to that. Again, 24 vehicles will be seated, and then the remaining 8 drivers, because we have 32, it's always the lower 8 that would have to run their second runs. So in this instance and in this round, it's 24 drivers will be locked and loaded. All right, as we're waiting for our next driver, and a new vehicle for this driver. And you can see him warming up his tires. Up top, this is Kazuya Taguchi, a driver that has seen many different vehicles. He now lives in Los Angeles, California, but Kazuya Taguchi, born in Hokkaido, Japan. As Kazuya, the Up Garage ISR. '86, really excited to see how he throws down here. Jerry Young Racing, he's on GT Radials. And we saw him, you know, in the R35 for quite a few years. Then he switched to the S15, and now this new build being debuted here for the first time. And Taguchi, I think he looked the most comfortable behind the wheel of the S15, but just with the development over the years of parts for, you know, the 86, I think it makes sense. All right, Sopa on Aropa. Matt Sopa on the line there, looking so good. getting word. They're saying send it, and here we go. Soap on Aropa, sending them down the hill. Slip and slide, take it to the house. I think we need Drink Tank Soap to make a Soap on Aropa format Sopa. Right? I think that needs to happen. Here we go. Kazuya Taguchi, up garage, ISR. 86 comes into that first front clip on the maiden voyage with this great looking vehicle. A little bit of correction there. Would like to see him kind of hang that angle out there. Doesn't get all the way to that outside zone. Oh, and a wide swing, Ryan, in that keyhole. Throws himself offline as he exits out, approaching that touch and go, just goes past it. And one more clip for glory. Boom, there it is. So you talked about that transition from that outside zone, the second outer zone, to that front clip, and just overshoots it.
Yeah, once again, another situation here where a driver just was not able to anticipate the right approach into the keyhole. He's going to pay a price for it. As you said, Jared, a little bit of a correction coming up the hill here, almost an understeer, but he's able to kind of hang on to it. It'll definitely be a scored run. But as he makes his approach into the keyhole here, let's see what goes wrong. He starts heading towards that outside zone. He was about to get into it early. He kind of dropped the angle down, and then he overshoots this inside clip. So right there on both line and angle, he's going to get hurt, I think, pretty badly, at least for those sectors, right?
Yep.
The judges obviously can break up the sectors. He may do well in other areas, so that'll kind of offset more poor scored sectors, but nonetheless, it is a mistake. The last section here as he gets through the touch and go, rips through this final inside clip, looking much cleaner here, and is able to finish strong. But we'll see how the judges ding those mistakes up in the keyhole.
Nonetheless, there's the sageism. It's back, baby. Nonetheless. What's mine? What do I always say?
Truth be told.
Truth be told. That's right.
There's another one, too, I think.
Yeah. Long story short, and then I tell a really long story. That's what I traditionally do. As Kazuya Taguchi awaits his score.
Oh, let me tell it like it is.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell it like it is. Yep, that's a good one. And, yeah, nonetheless is one of your faves. All right, there it is. Kazuya Taguchi with a 68. Wow, that is a considerably low score here. So Kazuya Taguchi with that way off line. You can see that 30 points available there. So that really hurt him. An angle, you saw him make that correction going up the hill, and we pointed that out as well, and in style.
Yeah, well, big deduction there on style for sure. He was down by 12 points. And we're starting to see some themes developing here, right? We're starting to see where these scores are coming into play. He's still sitting in 10th place, but that's because, he's the guy that's basically gone 11 drivers. We have a one incomplete, so he does have that 10th place. But have to imagine some of the drivers, some of the newcomers that we're not familiar with are going to have scores that are going to be competitive. It is going to be those bottom 8, though. So we're going to start seeing what the marker is as we get a little bit closer to the end of this first run.
Here we go. Adam LZ, always a fan favorite. Bought his compound. If you don't know who he is, if you're just familiar with Formula Drift competition, really made a name for himself last year. I think he even shocked himself. So it's great to see him back here. As he was just going to do what we called Pro 2 last year, Pro Spec this year, but with the doubleheader weekend, says, I'm going to be there anyways. Let's go ahead and enter Pro, because he did earn his license. And now here he is back at it again. And you know what? He sponsors his own program, LZ MFG, LZ Manufacturing. Adam LZ, one of the fans' favorites. Great looking car. Always has great looking liveries. Oh, but wrong side of that front clip. What happened there, Adam? And this is, I believe it is his first time driving as a pro. Whoa, buddy. So Adam LZ going absolutely rogue on the track. Wonder what's going on here with Adam LZ and his great looking S15. What a bummer. Wonder what's going on.
Yeah, it comes very unsettled there, unstuck in two different places. I've seen the judges give incompletes for less or something right around there, but I think it's really going to come down to how far off course he was. Let's take a look at this first mistake here by LZ. An unfortunate, just comes up on the line a little bit too tight, drops 2 tires, takes out the inside clip, tries to get it back together. You can see the car was a little bit unsettled there, and this is not the driving that we're used to seeing from Adam LZ. And then going up the hill, again, another timing issue. Goes completely off course. Wow, look at that. Look how far he shot that inside clip. You see that? That was crazy.
Wild. And then up here, just absolutely like it's like he blacked out and didn't know where he was going.
And the judges are going to award a 0 for this for sure, especially for that section
4 tires off.
You could tell that once he got unsettled and he had to really pull angle out of the car going up the hill, the speed was just too much to adjust. and he'll have to do this again. He'll be one of our drivers going to the bottom 8, and let's take a look at it. This is going to give us a good perspective. He just comes in a little bit too tight, didn't get that initiation just the way that he wanted it to. And here's where he has that little bit of an adjustment. See, notice how low the angle is in the car here. He's really going fast up the hill, and then just realizes, uh-oh,
whoa, I was supposed to take
a
it
little
right
bit
there.
too hard.
It's like you know when you got your Google Maps, and all of a sudden it's like, you missed the turn. Oh, okay, shoot, there we go. So got the wrong directions on the course. Now, Ryan, question for you in regards to knockout qualifying format. This was brought up. What if, like right now, Pollock and LZ, they're going to go to the second run in order to those bottom 8 spots, right? Kind of so for their opportunity to get in 32. What if they get a 0 in the second run? Does that create a bye?
Yes.
Okay, just to clarify. So again, if they get a 0 here, say Adam and JTP, they both go into that bottom 8, and they get a 0 there. So just to clarify, there will be a bye run. They will not advance.
And that part of the rule book was, I don't think it was hotly debated or contested, but I think the rationale behind it was, in traditional qualifying, we give you 2 opportunities. If you can't do that, you get 2 incompletes, or you have a mechanical. We historically have not allowed drivers just to be seated, and so those drivers that do 2 laps in this format, the first one and the second one, if they don't have a score to rely on the first run, and they double 0 and both are incomplete, then they would not be able to make it into competition.
So while they do 2 laps, got it. All right, as we clean up the track, you are watching the Royal Purple Road to the Championship presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Clean up on aisle 1 and 2. We'll be right back here from Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
Came up a lot of sounds, more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about.
Welcome back from Brazelton, Georgia, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. We are 12 drivers completed in qualifying, and most recently we saw Adam LZ, who unfortunately has a 0. So if you're just tuning in, we are live. I'm Jared Deenda. Joining me once again, great to see his shiny bald head, Ryan Sage, and now a veteran since day one. He's been here, coming here since 2004. Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara. Here we go, Dai Yoshihara coming down the hill, turn 14 distribution. Falcon tires, gets into the dirt. Oh, overshoots him there on that front clip. Snappy transition. He looks like he might be able to salvage a run here. Obviously being deducted some points on initiation. He just dipped the tire. Now come through the keyhole. A lot more confidence here. Love the new livery. Probably one of my favorite liveries I've ever seen from Dai Yoshihara. Great job, Dr. Sabal. Now coming into that final front clip where it all began.
You know what, though?
What's up?
Even though there was some mistakes made there, I'm kind of digging the driving style. Very aggressive from Daijiro Yoshihara. Usually very silky, smooth. One of the top 10 qualifiers, known for some top positions. That's a pretty big aggressive flick there. And obviously he pushed a little bit too hard. He's going to get some deductions on basically all 3 categories. But this kind of driving right here is what gets me excited as we progress through this competition. So Daijiro Yoshihara coming off a big win at the Formula Drift Skills Battle presented by Turn 14 Distribution just about a week ago, and trying to roll that momentum here into Road Atlanta, a track that he loves and has been a part of since the beginning.
Yeah, and just think about him, you know, back in the Pac Rim days. Remember the S13 with Jerry and the whole gang? And
that's when his hair was epic.
His hair and the visor. I mean, yeah, and now look at him. He's a father of 2, happily married, and piloting one of these rocket ships. But yes, I would agree with you. His violent style.
Kinda digging it.
It's ill. It's similar to that of Odie. You know, we talk about Odie just being kind of this more fluid driver. This looks a little more violent. So, yeah.
I wanted to see what was going to come out of this new qualifying format. How many people were going to push,
embrace it,
yeah, or you know what? I'm going to just maybe play it safe, but I'll be, mid-pack or something like that, and that's going to be okay. But that's also scary because you don't want to go up against somebody that is very competitive in top 32 and have an early exit.
Well, I mean, okay, an 87. So an 87 there, but what I was going to say is, Dai Yoshihara, former champion back in 2011, but another former champion of Tanner Faust when he won in 07-08. And to this day, we had the fortunate luck of having Tanner at Irwindale. Here's our current qualifying leaderboard. But I bring that up because Tanner said he was more nervous about qualifying in Formula Drift than any other motorsport. And think about that. That gentleman has, done amazing stunts. He's done, he's a rallycross champion. He's done many different disciplines. And still to this day, I mean, the dude flies planes.
Yeah.
He says that's the most nervous he's ever been.
You think it's an all eyes on me type of nervousness?
Yeah.
Or is that like the whole drifting world is focusing on me right now? I don't have another person on the track to kind of share the responsibilities with. Like, is that what it is?
Maybe.
For him.
Yes, I would say that. Yeah, but here we go. Speaking of all eyes on him, they are on the Beast from the Bay, this Drift Cave Falcon Tire Corvette. Mr. Matt Field, always a fun driver to watch. And he says his mind's right. He's just in a really good place. He says, I'm going to have some fun, and I'm going to keep the party going. Here we go. Matt Field comes into that first front clip. Oh, look at that. Doesn't even touch it. You can see that high-vis splitter and side skirts. Now coming up the hill, powering on through. Nice job. Now, look at that, filling all that outside zone. Did have a bit of a hiccup there. Would like that to be a little more fluid, but I really like the line. He filled all of the outer zone. That's the first driver we've really seen execute that really well. Oh, we could have a contender here, Ryan. I mean, basically start with 100, start deducting. Where would you deduct from?
Well, Matt Field, for me, has really come into being a real-life savage in so many different ways. He not only has he been upping his game in the drifting world, we've been seeing him really get his physical fitness, his nutrition on. He's riding motocross and performing at very high levels, and it looks like those kind of things are just helping build his overall confidence in the competition that he does out here on track. Now, as you said, he fills that zone completely and still is able to get to that inside clip. Now, that's the kind of connection that the judges are trying to see there. It could have been a little bit closer on the inside clip, but the fluidity and the transition that he had there, I think, was probably the best that we've seen so far. No major hiccups. He was aggressive on initiation. Didn't have a super long e-brake pull. I think this is going to be a very high-scored run for Matt Field and a great way to kick off his 2021 campaign.
Yeah, very stylish there from Matt Field. As the Falcon Tire Drift Cave Chevy Corvette, him and the Drift Cave boys, the cavemen, are ready to get down. The Beast from the Bay, Matt Field, he says we're looking to have some fun, and I know he did that Drift Week event. He had him and Ripper had they built a boat over COVID. Put a boat back in the water. That was awesome to see. Everybody's just having these fun side projects, and it's great to see you know, how COVID changed them. And, oh, there it is, a 95. And look at that, a near perfect style run. -2 on angle, -2 on line, and we have a new leader. That mindset working out for the beast from the Bay.
You can see, like in his photo there, he's more buff.
Oh, yeah. I get it, Ryan. I know you're into the physical fitness. And, yes, I don't know if you saw his hero card. It's cartoons. It's renderings. It said the only thing you're missing are muscle-ups. You need, like, you doing muscle-ups. And him doing muscle-ups is legit.
It's gangster.
He's a G. Like, he's getting after it. So it is great. And we, you know, you talk about the motocross. And you know, similarly or, you know, basically, you know, metaphorically or no. What am I saying? And analogously speaking is what I'm trying to say is Supercross changed when Ricky Carmichael and they started creating regiments and workouts and all these things, you know, McGrath. And now you look at these Supercross athletes, you know, they're absolute just that, athletes.
Well, congratulations to you, Matt Field. Our new #1 qualifier at 95 is now your overall standard, so he leads the way here. As we make our way through the pack, we are now up to the 15th place driver in the championship, Dylan Hughes.
What's up, Life Blaster? Jeff watching on, doging it up to the moon. Oh, boy. And speaking of to the moon, we are seeing Dylan Hughes, that royal purple O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW. He's got the 2J under the hood. He is coming in hot. He changed not much on this vehicle from last year to this year. Thinks just wants to refine it, but he did change tires. So that GT radial with that larger sidewall, he's got those rubber hooks out back and now coming in and out of that keyhole. That's how he manages it. Talking about another driver in his progression from Pro Spec and now here in Pro. And really refining that car with his dad and his brother. Do a backflip, Dayton. As, again, our #1 qualifier, Matt Field, just had in his previous run.
Well, a little bit of a disclaimer here. I know that Dylan Hughes did not get a lot of practice because of some challenges with the vehicle, and you can see right there it seems to be having an effect on that first section of the course. Completely overblows inside clip #1, and when that happens, it's really hard to get back online. Now, Dylan does do a pretty good job here of salvaging this run, especially on this section of the course, by trying to fill this outside zone. He gets about maybe 18 inches off the middle section there, so he's pulling it together here, but he will receive a very large deduction in both line and angle in that first sector coming down the hill. And of course, style, because of the commitment and the fluidity, he's going to see some deductions there as well. Let's see these final 2 turns here from Dylan Hughes, trying to make his impact known. He's able to get close on that final inside clip and close off his first run here. We'll see where it puts him. That mistake on initiation certainly going to be a deduction, but where will put him in the overall field?
We'll see if it puts him in the field, a.k.a. Matt Field putting the heat on. Definitely, as you say, that major mistake. That will hurt him. Up next, Jonathan Nairn. So switching gears as far as vehicles, Jonathan Nairn now in Juku BC Racing. As it's getting stinky up in here, lighting up some tires as Nairn, and a little bit stagnant. No wind, so it just lingers as really stings the nostrils, if I may, sometimes. As Nairn warming up his tires. Let's see what we got as we are waiting for the score of Dylan Hughes, a 77. A 77 for the dozer, Dylan Hughes. Nairn on the start line. Ready to come on down. There's our current qualifying leaderboard. Hashtag FDATL tag us. Matt Field leads the pack. Osbo, Bakshis, Gittin, and Turk rounding out the top 5. Nairn with the Type S lighting. Type S Touring Products, the official lighting of Formula Drift underneath. And whenever you look at the replay, it's the Air Force replay, the official military sponsor of Formula Drift. Jonathan Nairn. A new vehicle for him. Look at this. First person view coming down tight to that clip. Transitioning out up the hill. Let's see what we got, Nairn. You can see a little bit off of that outside zone now into the horseshoe. And into the keyhole out. So off of the clips as we're seeing Nairn now navigate back down the hill. Oh, man. A wide swing there, goes off course. So loosey-goosey, unfortunately for Nairn, needs to tighten it up I don't know if that's going to be enough. Again, we've seen some great scores. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, we got the FPV drone there to run shotgun with him. A really interesting perspective there to see how he navigated through the course. But as you said, a mistake towards the final inside clip. Let's take a look and see how it transpired here. Aaron, as you said, switching chassis, comes into the keyhole here with a lot of speed, and he blows both the second outside zone and also that inside clip. Final section here, making some adjustments with the front wheels, and let's see what happens. Oh, it's on the transition back around. It looks like he's able to hold angle through the finish line, and remember, there was a lot of controversy here about spin outs through the finish line, so now the judges are requiring drivers to not spin out anywhere on course, including past the finish line. I am seeing some pencils going down there for the judges, so it looks like this will be a scored run as anticipated, but was a pretty sizable mistake there. It will certainly have an impact on angle in that sector there, as well as possibly a small impact on style.
All right, a brand new livery, but the same carnage up atop the hill as we wait for Naren's score. We'll see if that's enough to get him into the top 24, or we could just call it the last 8, the 8 survivors. The not-so-great 8. How about that? The 62 score for Naren. that's the unofficial title of the not-so-great 8. So again, Field, Osbo, Bakshi's getting in Turk. Forsberg sitting there in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. You see Essa. There's Jones, Hughes, Taguchi, Naren. So Naren does slide in, and then look at that. We got Pollock and LZ with 0s, and obviously we have not seen those other drivers run yet. Carney, Gucci, Reeder, Burkett. We'll get to them in a moment. But,
once we get to the first 24 runs, it's going to be,
yes,
we'll be able to start telling that story.
And that'll be when we get to Rome Charpentier.
I mean, it's always possible that we could have 8 incompletes before then, but it's highly doubtful for drivers of this caliber.
Well, you just cursed.
Yeah,
you just cursed
Knock
Dean.
on wood.
Good job there. You just cursed Dean. Carney coming down. The Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper. Here we go. All right, throws it in. Carnage on Nexen tires.
Oh.
You just cursed him. Ryan, you owe him a beer. You owe Dean Carnage. I mean, it's highly unlikely we're going to see 8 incompletes. Well, guess what, 8 drivers? We're going to see 8 incompletes. Oh, man, Oshevitz.
Rerun.
Oh, Dean Carney. Love the Oracle Lighting. Love the man. Giving away Dodge Vipers on his promotion. Buys some gear. He's been working hard. He's been working feverishly. And it's Ryan Sage's fault he has that incomplete. That will be an incomplete, a.k.a. a 0. Yep. Ryan, you want to talk about what you just did to Dean?
Well, I can tell you what I saw here. You're saying there's some magical force that comes off me that makes incompletes happen.
I mean, I don't know if you know yourself. You definitely believe in a higher power.
Well, I mean, that actually, you should be stoked on me if I could make that happen.
All right.
Right? You should be asking me for favors.
Yeah, hey, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, can I get a job? So yeah, unfortunately, he just rotates. And all joking aside, we'll see him. The good thing is, we do have 32 drivers, so as long as he puts another run in the knockout format,
the pressure cooker is going to be on that second run for the incompleted drivers, right?
Yes.
Because you have a seat. All you need to do is get that 1 point.
1 point. 1 point to rule them all.
It's in, baby.
All right, the Goosh is loose. Ken Gucci. Here we go. The OG original Gucci. Sending him down the pipe. Let's see what you got. Another OG since day one. We've seen this young man grow up. Kenshiro from Montebello, California. The Gretty Toyota Gazoo Racing GR Supra comes down into that front. Massive angle there from Goosh. Now working his way up the hill. Look at that, even a little handbrake pull in that first outside zone. Comes into the keyhole, see if he can unlock it. Wraps it cleanly around that inside clip. Now back down the hill, past the touch and go. Barely see him. The Gazoo Racing Toyota GR Supra heads back up. Well done from the Goosh. OG original Gucci. Let's take a look at the Air Force Instant Replay, the official military sponsor of Formula Drift.
Yeah, pretty solid run here by Ken Gucci. Let's look at the initiation. Brings the car to angle, locks it in there. He has the e-brake pull as well, but look, back on throttle and perfectly executed through that inside clip. So great job there by Ken. You can see his eyes from that camera shot, eyeing up where he needs to go, uphill into that outside zone. Minimal corrections there to put himself pretty well into this second outside zone. Here's the transition there. You can see he's off throttle for a second, gets in the beginning part of that outside zone, really kind of finesses the car, but comes off a little bit early of that second outside zone. Now he is sailing pretty clear here as he gets through his own smoke line, comes back down the hill. And on this final transition here, we're going to see him get to the touch and go and then wrap it back around to this last inside clip, which is full throttle for Gucci. Pretty well executed there by 2-1. And let's see
Look at this. Look at this real quick here on the chat. They're trying to make claims.
Too.
They're making claims. 92, 93, 85. Man, Matthias Million saying nah. Oh, look at this. Still Josh saying 99. Whew.
You want me to make a claim right now?
Yeah, claim it. Claim it.
I'll say 91.
Okay. 91. I'm gonna say 93. Go 93. What do you got, Goosh? Next, coming up next, a new vehicle for this gentleman, Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter. No, he does not work for Walmart. It's just what I've nicknamed him. But yeah, Travis Reeder. Actually, I gave him a name. He came out and did demos with Vaughn Gittin Jr. in Chelsea at the St. Louis Auto Show. Shout out to Stephanie and the St. Louis Auto Show team. But we called him the Grim Reader, Travis Grim Reader. Yeah, so we'll see if that sticks. 87, we were both incorrect. So 87 for the Goosh. I think Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter, needs to work. And hopefully, I know his grandma's always watching. How we doing, Reeder grandma? The whole family. I said, you know, he had the S13, which took him to that Pro 2 championship in 2018. And with this new vehicle, I said, is it old red or is it new red? He says, I don't know. We'll have to see how it works out. But again, this Link ECU, Link Engine Management, BMW, new vehicle for him. He's been working hard on this vehicle, hard for it. And Reeder passed that front foot, the point of no return. Hammers down, but let's see if we can keep it smooth. A bit off of that outside clipping zone. And you can hear kind of the throttle real off and on. I mean, the main void, that's not too shabby for Reeder. I mean, all things considered, that is pretty good for Reeder on that debut of that brand new vehicle, new red, Travis Reeder.
Yeah, definitely sensing a lot of speed and grip out of that car there. Will be really fun to watch it in head-to-head competition. Here it is from above, getting into that inside clip. Back on throttle, going up the hill. He might have gone on throttle a little bit late there on that inside clip. The judges will certainly ding the drivers for that. And let's see how deep he gets into that outside zone. The first one, right at the edge of the course there. The second one, let's see how he gets those rear wheels in there. And he's still going to come up a little bit short. So Travis Reeder trying to get to this inside clip, which he does almost perfectly there. So great job by him.
Ryan, I don't know if you knew, but Travis is he's very proficient in actually reading books and literature. I would call him Travis the speed reader. I think he's actually really good at reading books very fast. So he's very proficient. I don't know if you knew that. Little known fact. Travis speed reader. And it works because he's a race car driver as well. So Travis Reeder, we'll see what kind of score we see from Travis. No?
You guys want a line cut on that?
Looks like we are good to go. Yeah, I mean, the words per minute, he's all about the WPM as opposed to the RPM, the words per minute. 85, so an 85 puts him into number 10 position. Travis Speed Reeder. I mean, he starts sweating when he's around a library. It's really weird. All right, so next up we are seeing Dan Burkett. Business up front, party in the back. So got the Blanco, got the white nose there. GT radials, the Gear Wrench Toyota Supra. Let's see how we go. Let's see how the waterfall. Don't go chasing waterfalls unless you're in a head-to-head competition because he's got the waterfall out back. His haircut. Sopa with a very aggressive send. Might throw your arm there, bud. So just take it down a notch there, Sopa on Europa. Here we go, Dan Burkett coming down into the first inside clip. Swings a bit wide there, could be a little bit closer. Like the speed, look at that, turning it up. Turning it up to 11. Popping and locking through the keyhole. Good angle, snaps back in that Rad Industries Gear Wrench Supra. fluid here in the latter portion of this track. Really like the second half of it. Needed to tighten up on the front, and once he started going up the hill, you saw him gaining that momentum and just really flowing right.
Well, it looks like he's coming out swinging this year. Big angle and gets on the throttle early before that inside clip, but blows by it a little bit wide there. So Dan Burkett trying to make up some ground now. Driving aggressively, that's what we love to see. Minor adjustments as he gets into this second outside zone. And as he wraps around to that inside clip, we'll take another look at it from the above angle here. How deep is he able to get into this zone? Comes up a little bit short there, so still a lot of drivers struggling with that. Also about 18 or so inches off of the second inside clip, getting through the touch and go. And one more time from this angle here, as we see him come down the hill, wrapping through, touch and go, and final chance to accumulate points. And great job on that final inside clip there by Dan Burkett.
Yes. All right, so as Chuck G drifting, how we doing, man? Thanks for watching, Chuck G. And Wesley Keating, watching from 2 different homes, 2 different countries in Ireland, still on lockdown, cheering on Dean Carney and Odie. So I know so many fans are just absolutely stoked to get an 89. Look at that smile, that says it all. An 89 for Dan Burkett. As all right, the Finch and is watching at home. It's a pretty solid IG there. Again, be sure to tag us, hashtag FDATL. And Fields still leads the pack with a 95, Ryan. And do you think it like you elaborated on it earlier, but again, starting at number 1 and then going down. I really liked what you said, where they get to see kind of the runs that stand out and what the judges are really focusing on. Even though they tell them, but it's better to see it.
For sure, and it's different. It's a departure from what we've done in the past. I think in some ways it helps the lower ranked drivers, be in the position that they weren't before. They were seeing the higher ranked drivers go towards the end. Some people think that gave them an advantage. So we've tried something different here. And as Jonathan Castro takes his run, he knows that a 95 is the score to beat with just a few more drivers to go.
Oh, Castro is he's definitely motivated, man. He's got a new look, a new livery. Looks similar, still flying the DR flag. And now through that keyhole. Let's see how he transitions. I know he's got an 86 back in his in DR, in his home country. Look at that. So another driver who kind of has this kind of smoother approach and just looks a little more violent, man. They're all turning it up. They're all getting keyed up, man.
Yeah, Jonathan Castro has certainly become a fan favorite over the years, has shown us some really strong moments. This is his first run of the day, hoping that it's his last. As he gets through that inside clip, just nudges it out of the way as he transitions up the hill. This is the toughest part of the course, I think, for drivers to really figure out the timing as they get into this second outside zone, connecting those two. And we see a lot of similarities there. You can see those dark patches where the asphalt has changed colors from so many people driving in that same location. Jonathan Castro, yet another one, but looking smooth here coming down the hill. Gets through the touch and go and the final turn as he maxes out the angle past that touch and go. And then right here on this last inside clip, which was knocked over, he was able to stay tight. And I think he's going to get himself a decent score.
He was throwing sparks all underneath that car. You could really see as he's changed tire manufacturers. He's on Federal, so that is another variable that has changed for him. He's part of that Team Toyota. Let's see where he lands. For Castro, an 85, just shy of his engine, or excuse me, of his vehicle, the 86. So Jonathan Castro with an 85 puts him into the number 10 position. All right, so Masayama up next. And this vehicle we've seen a couple times, campaigned by different people. This originally was Matt Fields' vehicle. And then we saw Pat Gooden drive it. And now we got Masayama piloting this hot rod as Masayama. The Buy Now Japan Nexon tire S15. And you got to think Masayama, who was piloting, a vehicle right-hand drive, now here he goes to left-hand drive. That's got to be interesting because, like Dai Yoshihara, he switched his BRZ over to the right hand, so he's more familiar with it. Masayama, I don't know how many left-hand drive vehicles he's actually drifted in.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think this car is probably going to be a little bit more competitive than his last one, which is why it's more exciting. But I don't think we got the show out of him that we wanted to see last year, as he's given us a little taste of that now.
Nice. There we go. Masayama comes in round, and look at that. He's got the yellow fenders as he rocks on all his A vehicles as well. Look at this. And this is, I mean, it's all American. This is quite a contrast, you know, from, I believe, it's S15. I don't know if it was 2J or what the build was last year. I can't recall. But, you know, supercharged LS, quite a different beast.
Yeah, remember it was the Acura Integra looking S15?
Yeah. And, you know, great looking car. Always loved it. But just never really came together for him.
Definitely a different beast for him to adjust to here. Running those Nexen tires, big long e-brake pull, and just gets on the throttle a little bit late there past that first inside clip. Really rolling on the throttle. You could hear it you could hear it very well in how he was doing his throttle control. A little bit short on that second outside zone. Starting to get the hang of it here now as he's really laying down a big smoke cloud, and through that final inside clip, he ties it together pretty well. Here he is, leaving the keyhole, coming down the hill, pointing it in the right direction. Good smoothness, nice transition, locks in that angle, and is able to finish strong. But a couple little mistakes there that the judges are gonna ding away a few points. But overall for him, let's see how he is perceived by the judges here as we get one more look from the FPV.
Shout out to Chris Mady, stuck in traffic right now watching. Chris Mady of AEM. Getting all the love right now. Again, Ron Baugh, wish you were here as well. But all the fans tuning in across the globe, let us know you're watching. Tag myself, Ryan Sage, of course, at Formula D. But let us know. Again, hashtag FDATL. And here we go. And a 78 for Masayama, puts him into 16th position. All right, next up was to be Ryan Littrell, unfortunately unable to make it to the line. So Rome Charpentier in the Garage-stick, BMW. Got that E36, which saw many different interesting things happen last year in 2020. Always just a positive attitude. Garage-stick BMW E36. Rome Charpentier. Born and raised in Southern California. He's on Federal tires. So again, another driver having to get familiar and used to their new setup. Shout out TJ Hunt. Thanks for watching, homeboy. Shee. Here we go. Make some noise, Atlanta. Here we go as Rome Charpentier, Garage-stick E36 BMW. Rome with that massive whip antenna off the roof. It's like an RC car. Comes into that first front clip. Lifting that front left. The Type S underglow. She on. She lit. Oh, nice job into that outside zone. Gets a lot of it. Gets a really good fluid motion coming out of the keyhole. Little hiccup there, but now comes past and into that final front clip. Past the touch and go. There's that final front clip. Man, I got to tell you, I mean, just a fun driver to watch, but it's all about seat time, man. And I know he's been clocking a lot of hours, a lot of time over at Adams in Southern California. So here it is, looking at it again, the bird's eye view, Ryan.
Yeah, and it was really interesting and fun seeing him come out to skills battle as well, now having an opportunity here to kind of show his muscle. And one of the few guys getting pretty deep into that second outside zone, but you can see the kind of the price that he paid here. Jared was going a little bit wide on that second inside clip, so we're still not seeing somebody just do that just exactly perfect. We got that 95 from Matfield, which is still kind of stood as the standard so far and is not likely to fall unless somebody comes out really, really strong here. But this will be a good scoreable run, something that he can probably hold on to for that top 24. But we will find out how the judges treat the remainder of the field as we are getting closer to the end of the first run here.
Yeah, I mean, we were scheduled to go 10:15, but and Ryan, I said that when we got to Rome, we would find out who was in the 24 and who's locked and loaded, but I was mistaken because of Ryan Littrell was slotted at 23. After our next driver, Alec Robbins, in his Nissan Z, he will find out who is locked and loaded and who is going. We obviously know that 3 drivers are ready as an 85. Look at that grin. Oh, man. Look at that. So Rome with an 85 on his run. Position 12, he should be okay, and he will not have. So, yeah, so right now you see Field, Osbo, Bakshis, Gittin, Turk, Burkett, Forsberg, Gucci, Yoshihara, Castro, right? Then taking a look, 11 through 20, you can see Essa. We saw Rome just run. Travis, the speed reader, Denofa, Taylor, full pole, Hull, Jeff Jones, Masayama, Hughes, Taguchi, Naren, and now the top 24, Pollock, 0, LZ, Carney, all 0. So the remaining drivers, they want to get, again, higher than, you know, that we saw, who was that? Basically higher than a 77 right now. I mean, Naren.
68.
68. Yeah, thank you. Kazuya Taguchi with that 68. So here we go. Alec Robbins. Alec Robbins, I know he's got a lot of fans here in the building cheering him on. Let's see what you got. Alec Robbins initiates into that first front clip. A lot of handbrake there. And now comes up the hill as Robbins into the keyhole. Let's see how he handles outside zone. Ooh, middle, very shallow on the line, Ryan. As we saw Taguchi really get deducted for the offline run there. The touch and go, nasty flick there. Back up the hill for Robbins. A little bit of a saving grace putting on that exclamation point on that run. I saw you shake your head. You're like, I like that.
That was a sick final transition there. You're right. He did have a mistake on initiation. It was what we call kind of a stepped initiation, where he initiates and then puts another step into it to increase the angle. Now, we like seeing him increase the angle. We like seeing him get back on throttle before inside clip number 1. So all that is good. But let's see how he fares coming up the hill. A little bit of adjustment going over the speed bumps coming up into this second outside zone. And again, another driver falling quite a bit short of that second outside zone. So leaving some of those line points on the table, but he is able to move back around, get closer to that second inside clip. And coming down the hill here, probably one of the most dynamic parts of the run so far. This final transition from the touch and go, winds it up, big snap back around, catches it, and maintains really good proximity to that inside clip while finishing up strong.
Yeah, so Alec Robbins from Becker, Minnesota. He got a start in 2013 in the MDU. Shout out to Edgar and the gang. The Facetto 350Z. We'll see if it is enough getting that hyperwheel going. Hey, Tej, would you say he needs to keep moving forward? Getting a lot of fans out here again, making those claims on the scores. 99. Sorry, but I don't think that's going to happen. Unfortunately for Robbins, I know he'd love that. All right, so here we go. Alec Robbins with an 83, and 83, so leaving some points on the board. As great to see Mr. Mohan back in the building. Kyle Mohan and his dad with the sweet stash. He's grown out his hair. He looks like he's 16 again, surfing the big waves of Southern California. As Kyle Mohan, his wife and child cheering him on from home. Let's see how Kyle the Menace Mohan fares. His RX-8. We saw him in we saw him in Texas last year, so it's great to see him. All right. And
is that pins?
That is hood pins.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh man, that is a big bummer.
That's a bummer. That's going to be an incomplete, unfortunately, before he even started. It happens. It's happened numerous times. I won't name names, Dai Yoshihara, but it's happened twice at an event. It's unfortunate, but hopefully didn't break the windshield, and just right here, and you see it. Boop.
There you
Bloop.
go.
Oh man, that's going to be an incomplete. Sheesh. Sorry, Teach. There you go. RX-8. The hood pops. Oh man, yes sir. So such a bummer there, as we could see our next vehicle warming up. And there it is. Buy any 5 quarts of Royal Purple high-performance motor oil and receive a box of Royal Purple Nitro work gloves for free. It's a $20 value. So go to O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get 5 quarts of Royal Purple high-performance motor oil. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. That's right. That's right. All right. So also want to thank Nextel. The #1 nationwide push-to-talk carrier is back. Nextel. Please go to nextelcommunications.com to sign up today. Thanks to... What? Are you chirp?
That's old Nextel sound, right?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were Cardi B or something. Yves Meyer back in the building. Love that vehicle. And here we go. Yves Meyer. Let's see what you got. Show me what you got. Coming down, great looking Beamer. Little hesitant there on the initiation and takes out that front clip. Some wavering approaching the hill. Comes into those gator strips, and those things will bite you. Shallow on that outside zone. I'm trying to recall, I believe this is his first time running this track. As I believe it is, as Meyer heads back up the hill. So ripped through the course, just did not put the car in the right places and had some reservations on initiation. We'll see where that lands.
Well, we got that initiation at the second is going to become a lot more difficult if these next few drivers lay down some decent scored runs. We're going to see some guys with scores still have to do that second run. So Yves Meyer here waiting for a score from the judges after he does his first pull, hoping it's his one and only of the night.
All right, so Yves Meyer waiting for his score. You might be seeing that underglow kits there. Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Type S actually has a promo going right now. They have their Pro Series LED kits now available at types.com. And if you use code FDATL10 for 10% off site-wide. So again, brand new Pro Series LED kits available now. Promotion ends May 24th. Max 1 per customer. You can really light it up, Ryan, am I right? I mean, I wouldn't light like a lighter near you or anything like that, or a flame, an open flame around you would not be ideal, but LED underglows, I mean.
We can get on board with that.
Yeah. No open flames, though, anywhere near you at all. All right, here's the score, 77. A 77 for Yves Meyer. And nice job there, bud. So looks like he's kind of in bubble territory, given that, again, the top 24 will be locked. The remaining 8 will drive. Trenton Beecham. Here we go. Beecham dang near killed him. Here we go. Great to see him back in the mix. Down by the Beecham boy. Let's see what the Mustang has. Like I said, 4 Mustangs in total now, a little older body style. The Nexen tires go around, lifting it up. Yeah. Ripping, tearing up the hill into that second outside zone in the keyhole. Good angle all the way through. Sounds really mean. The attitude of the vehicle is really interesting. It looks very stable, but it's still like getting up. It's just very, very interesting, Trenton Beecham.
Had a pretty conservative initiation, made it look clean, got a good start here. You can see he kind of slow rolls into it. Not a lot of e-brake use. Got the timing there in terms of getting back on throttle really well. Look at this adjustment here in the front wheels, though. Coming up the hill, you can see the car having some movement in the front. So he will get some deductions at that section of the course. But as he gets into the keyhole here, he's able to get somewhat close to that second outside zone, back to that inside clip. And then the final section here, coming down the touch and go, we're going to see him try to make up as much ground as he possibly can, and he's able to get pretty close to that final inside clip. So did have some adjustment in the front wheels coming up into a really important sector. Not the most dynamic initiation, but looks like it will be enough. And as we get deeper, Jared, we're going to be talking a lot more about where that cutoff is going to be. 77 was the last score. That's a tie with Dylan Hughes. So we'll see how things pan out for the remaining drivers with just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go.
Trenton Beecham, about 850 horsepower out of that Clonex Racing Nexen tire Ford Mustang. And here's a different look, getting trippy, man, up in the sky. Again, I have to assume tomorrow, you know, we have a ton of pre-sale tickets, so really excited. I mean, this is just a expansive environment and venue, so it's really great that we kick the season off, and it's just a really great shape of things to come for the season. I think everybody's really eager to get out here and partake and partay.
This is Road Atlanta, baby.
It's ATL.
This is one of the ones.
Yep, it is. All right. Southern Roots, we got Cash Racing. This is Jonathan Hurst. All right, waiting on the judges. Here we go. The 72 for Trenton Beecham. A 72 for that Clonex Racing Nexen tire Ford Mustang from Agora Hills, California. Smile, Trenton. You're up in the mix, bro. As the Men's Journal knockout qualifying continues. And as Ryan said, 5 more drivers. 5 more drivers left, and we'll rack them and stack them to find out who's in the not-so-great 8 on our first run. Here we go. Hurst, little trickle, drip, turn it up. Cash Racing G37. Big angle from Hurst. Oh, wow, look at that initiation. The Dynasty vehicle. Oh, and shuts her down. Jonathan Hurst and that Cash Racing G37 comes to a halt.
Well, after being a clear contender in the Pro 2 Championship last year and getting right up to that point of being crowned a champion, decides to go into Pro and looked really good the first part of that run. It looks like he had probably a mechanical situation there, so he's going to have to do lap number 2, but really looking forward to see how his year pans out for him. And a tremendous driver, a beautifully built car, and you can see right there, aggressive initiation right into it, back on throttle, and then here the front end just washes out and he shuts it down. He knows it's an incomplete at that point.
Yep. All right, shout out to Emerson in the building. Thanks for joining us out here. Yeah, these are the incompletes, and yeah. I mean, Pollock, LZ, Carney, Mohan, Hurst. The other drivers that are Olsen, Reynolds, Sharifo, and Sorensen, they have yet to have their runs. So we are guaranteed to see those 5 drivers, those 5, in the second runs. Which drivers will be joining them? We will soon find out. Formula Drift rookie, Simon Olsen, brand new Toyota Supra, coming to us from Norway. He competes in the Nordic Drifting Championship. And they've had a few rounds already this year, and comes over swinging, 2JZ powered, brand new Mark V Supra. All right, comes in. Oh, a little wavering, a little correction there. We'll see. And back in the day, we did have, like, when you straightened out and no drift. Oh man, that's gonna hurt. This is a menacing track. Welcome to FD, Simon. All right, so some of these drivers, you know, having really high hopes and bringing their talent over here. Might have seen it in the flesh, might have seen it on the internet, might have seen it in person in the stands, but being on the track, a completely different ball of wax.
Well, it is some aggressive driving, which is what we like to see, but he's going to pay a pretty big price for it here. Some notable mistakes. One right there, he pulls some angle out of the car, and he just happens to be in a position where he can transition without losing angle completely. But then as he goes uphill, he goes off course here, puts a lot of angle in the car, then has to pull it out again while he comes up shallow on that second outside zone. I see that the judges are taking a look here, and I think they're trying to identify if there's enough of a justification for an incomplete or not. Either way, I think it's critical that he tries to get some kind of score here. Not that he tries, that he hopes to get some kind of score here, because as we're seeing things kind of develop, I think the scores are gonna play a really important role for the bottom 8 drivers. We do have a number of zeros, and we do have some scores, but the scores deviate from each other at the lower level, and it could be a point or two that gets you into the top 24. So, tough call here for the judges. Does it look like they're writing things down there over there that you can see, Jared?
No, they're kind of reviewing. Reviewing.
Can you give me a sign? Is it one of these?
Oh, wow. So
All right, they're going for it.
Give me a sign. Give me the ace of base. I saw the sign.
Yes.
It opened up my eyes.
They are going to go in incomplete on that. Looks like.
Don't turn around.
Let's talk to Ryan Lantain just to get some feedback on where the justification was for the incomplete.
Ryan Lantagni, are you over there? Check.
1, 2. Yeah, we looked at the replay from different angles, and we saw that he straightened between inside clip 1 and what is the touch and go essentially on the way down the hill. It was too serious for us to give a score. We're really looking at it from the perspective of what would this be like in a tandem competition? Would that be an incomplete or not? And it would be.
Yeah.
So we went with that.
Understandable. All right, so more work to do there for Simon Olsen Jared. We've got Josh Reynolds, Federico Sharifo, and Brandon Sorensen, our 3 remaining drivers, as things are getting interesting here at Atlanta.
Well, they're making it really easy on the judges to slot in those 8s, because right now we have 6 incompletes with those. But a very similar looking BMW you saw earlier of Yves Meyer, and here is Joshua Reynolds. Let's see what Josh has got on deck. Oh, goes all the way out, uses all the course, shoots in, wrong side of the clip. That'll be a major deduction there for Reynolds. Coming in hot. And into that second outside zone. Can't exactly see the angle there. We'll take a look at the replay. And now Reynolds, middle of the road, goes over that touch and go, exactly where he should. Just another scenario of just really tightening it up, just cranking that thing down, a couple more zips, a couple more knuckles on that zip tie.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, given what you just said about the 6 incompletes, I think, it's good advice from a spotter to say, you know what, don't push it too much. Go out there, get a score on the board. That could guarantee you being in that first pack. He does go off course there and make a pretty sizable mistake on that inside clip. He's starting to pull it back together a little bit here on that first outside zone, but like a lot of drivers, struggling here carrying the appropriate momentum into the second outside zone, Jared. And that and the Lion combination here pushes him way wide on that second inside clip. Now, as you see him coming back down to the hill here, we're going to get a good look from above. You can see the smoke line really was not there coming up the hill, so he wasn't driving super aggressively, as we've seen other drivers just lay down a huge smoke line where they're driving back through it coming down the hill. So it looks like this is going to be a scored run, and this may help him. This may really be the differentiating factor between him and some of the other drivers.
All right, let's see what Josh Reynolds has as far as score. And we talked about it. So our new format, knockout qualifying format. Every driver, all of the drivers that show up on game day, or excuse me, on qualifying day, will have their run 1. So there's that last page. So where will Reynolds sit? Will he have a score? Where is he? I mean, he's going to have a score, but where he ends up, and then that puts Naren on the bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. So it looks like we did slot him in there. So Naren jumps down to 24, so he did slide in.
So that means that a score just got computed on the back end.
And there it is, 73, a 73 for Joshua Reynolds. So Naren is on the bubble. Now it comes down to Sharifo and Brandon Sorensen.
And what's that number? So Naren is on the bubble. His number is a 62. So Sharifo and Sorensen are shooting for a 63 or higher, or a 62 that has a higher style score.
Yeah, so a 63 or better. 63 or better for re-entering. Look at re-entering the chat room, Federico Sharifo, as the Fiorella, this iconic vehicle. I mean, this car was literally lit at one point. And
correct.
As he is back and he's re-entered the chat room, and it's great to see him from Milano, Italy. Federico Sharifo says he's going for 1,000 horsepower. The Ferrari 599 GTB just barely kisses that front clip.
Oh,
and that's it. Oh boy. And that's what the judges talked about earlier about it being a chaseable run. He did have a bobble there, but was that massive? We'll really have to analyze that in our Air Force replay.
The understeer was strong.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the issue.
Yoda over here? The understeer was strong with this one. The understeer was strong, Ryan.
No, I think, it's basically an opposite.
Strong was the understeer.
Yeah, it's basically an opposite drift it was.
Right. And that's good how you switch the words to opposite.
So let's take a look at this. I mean, where it's going to come down to on this run, folks, is what the judges are going to deem as an incomplete or not for doing that right there. Now, in the way that camera shot is shooting it in the black wheels, we don't see it as aggressively as we did from the other side, but it was a pretty sizable understeer. I want to get a look at it from the other angle just to give the perspective. But if it is indeed an opposite drift, it will be an automatic incomplete. Thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. I know Federico's got Fetty's got a better run in him. Here it is. He said the understeer straightening. Ooh, yeah. I mean, that's
good size one.
That is pretty large. That is a pretty big correction there. I believe this is our director's favorite car right here. He's vibing on this one.
I think it surprised him.
Yeah, Kemp was like, whoa, what? Yeah, the 599 GTB slides into the DMs. But we'll see if it can slide into our top 24. Again, just you don't want to be in the not so great 8, the late 8. How about that, the late 8? Oh boy. So making it easy for these judges, these incomplete runs.
And then is that official?
And it will be momentarily. I just want to make sure that graphic. But Brandon Sorensen, our final driver.
Yeah, it's official.
All right. So, yeah, Brandon Sorensen. He was the youngest Formula Drift driver in history by winning the 2018 U.S. Drift Championship. And he's currently 16 years old. And that was a couple years ago. So you do the math, 14 years old.
Needs himself a 63, and this will be the last run of the night for him. This is actually a very pressure-filled moment, but a huge opportunity here to get into the first field of drivers that will not have to do a second qualifying run.
Yeah, so we didn't put up the graphic, but Federico Sharifo did get an incomplete. Brandon Sorensen here on his first pro qualifying run. That 212 Performance Sorensen Motorsports BMW. Solid initiation there from Sorensen. Sparks flying, necks and tires go around. Now into the keyhole, transitions out. Here bogging down a little bit. Grab another gear, Gary. Past that touch and go, off of that touch and go quite a bit. Oh, I want to see that, just the camera angle just switched there. Don't know if he hit that last clip or if he was on the other side of it. Let's take a look at this again.
Yeah, I want to see that again as well. That'll be a big chunk of the judging there. And I think he definitely did hit it. I don't think he went super far off, but outside of that, I think he's going to get the score and then some, because it was a pretty aggressive run, not a lot of mistakes. You can see the fluidity is pretty on point here. Fills that outside zone, gets into the keyhole really well, transitions back around. And as we come through this last little section here, we'll see if we get a good look at where he got into the last inside clip. Here he is leaving the keyhole. And this is the shot that we're looking for here. Let's see if it'll play out for us and we'll get a good look. And right there, yeah, he's going to dip. So, yeah, it was an aggressive hit, but it's not an incomplete. And I think he did enough through the majority of that run.
I think it's higher than a 63.
Yeah, to get that 63 and probably then some. So if he did, he got through a pretty pressure-filled moment for such a young driver to perform here as the last driver in this first run and kind of knock it out of the park a little bit.
Yeah, in his first pro qualifying run, hailing from Las Vegas, him and his sister Amanda. She's going to compete in pro spec, so we'll see her in Orlando. She's here as their dad is here as well. So that would mean if Brandon does get better than the 63, all 7 of our incomplete drivers, that would mean Justin Pollock, Adam LZ, Dean Carney, Jonathan Hurst, Federico Sharifo, and then Jonathan Nairn would be in the late 8, as we're calling it. So Brandon Sorensen with an 85.
Yeah.
So as you said, yeah, definitely dominating. So again, we take the bottom 8 scores and we will fill the remaining. So again, the late 8, the 8 drivers will backfill from 25 into 32 position.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Let's
All right,
see.
so here is our leaderboard. Matt Field comes out as our #1 qualifier. A great score for him with a 95. So, yeah, congratulations. Matt Field, our #1 qualifier. Osbo, second. Bakshi's third. Gittin, Turk, Burkett, Forsberg, Gucci. I mean, look at Field. You see, oh, man. Remember, I mean, three-way tie of 93s, and then even more sensational, Ryan, seeing Osbo and Bakshi's tie, line, angle, and style. Then it defaults to ranking. So that comes down to last year, and Osbo outranked him.
Yeah.
A lot of 85s. You're seeing 83s. Then we start getting to lowers, right? And then we get into 70s. So Masayama, Dylan Hughes, and then you got Eve Meyer, 77. And there we have the cut. So Taguchi gets to wipe his brow. I'm in head-to-head tomorrow. Naren, unfortunately, did put a score on the board, but not enough. So there you have Naren, Pollock, LZ, Carney, Mohan, Hurst, Olsen, and Federico Sharifo and Fiorella are the late 8. They're going to their second run. So just those 8 drivers, and we will backfill those spots from 25 to 32.
And now that we know how this is played out after run #1, we also know with Naren, he is of the 8 guaranteed in because he at least has a score.
Right.
The other guys have nothing to back it up.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure on them to get that score on the second run so that they can be into tomorrow's competition.
Yeah, you know, you saw, yeah, so don't go anywhere. We'll find out where the late 8 land. I know a lot of LZ fans are chomping on their fingernails. When we come back, we'll find out, is Adam LZ and the 7 other drivers, you got Paul, I mean, you have notable names. Are they going to make it? They just need to get a score on the board when we come back here to the one, the only Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
At Holley, we're gearheads too, so we decided to create a one-stop shop for all things automotive, a place we call Motor Life. Motor Life is Holley's new completely free digital magazine that houses the how-to stories, car features, news, and videos that car folks love. To check it out, head on over to motorlife.com and don't forget to subscribe to our Motor Life newsletter so you won't miss any of this great car-centric content.
we are back. We have our late 8s, meaning that these 8 drivers will be slotted in. They can't get any higher than position 25 because our top 24 is locked and loaded. And moving forward from this, Ryan, this brand new knockout qualifying format, it expedites qualifying, but it still gives the variable of you're in charge and you have your destiny in your own hands in the steering wheel. And yeah, this is how they got there. But again, elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, we saw these 8 drivers either not get a score or get a score low enough to not make it into the top 24, which are one and done. And remember, coming into this event, Jared, we had 33 drivers. So we were in a situation where one driver was going to be out of the top 32. With Ryan Little not making it into competition, all these drivers have an opportunity to make it into the top 32, but not a guarantee because you still have to register a score. So I think the storyline here is less about the positioning and more about, are you going to be into tomorrow's competition? Absolutely critical to get a score here.
Yep. So here we go, JTP. We're just going to go back to their running order. So Justin Pollock was the earliest in the lineup. So we'll go JTP, Adam LZ, Naren, Carney, Mohan, Hurst, Olsen, and then Sharifo. So 8 drivers. They are guaranteed a spot as long as they have a score outside of Jonathan Naren, who does have not the highest score, but still a score to land them into the top 32. Sending JTP, that Falcon Tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang. Let's see where JTP lands. For the other drivers, one and done, and now second run and gun. Before JTP comes into that front clip, this is where he had the mistake. He flicked it just a little too hard. Now, Ryan, I think this is where you play it safe, especially since all you need to do is get a score. Do not zero. Just hold your breath. You could probably hold the entirety of the run as JTP. Now, that's not JTP. That's not how he does it. He goes for it. So Justin Pollock, he knows he can't qualify better than 24th, so just get in the show.
Well, as soon as he got through the finish line, he was guaranteed in. Now It just becomes about the positioning between 25 to 32. But this is the run I think JTP wanted the first time around. Really big angle, minimal corrections there. Kind of pulled a little bit of angle out of it, but did the right thing to keep his car on track, maintaining really good proximity to that first outside zone. And as he comes up the hill, he's going to get to that second outside zone in a much better way that we've seen a lot of the other drivers that got that first run score. So this is a story of the run that Justin Pollock wanted on run number 1. He's obviously going to be down in the rankings going into tomorrow's event, and that's going to be a bit challenging because we know that the guys that scored really well are some of the top drivers, and going up in the top 32 with 2 top drivers is fun for us as fans, but can't be that fun for those drivers.
No, we're seeing the chat here, and just a lot of LZ fans, but he's up next, and we'll see. But I kind of like this added pressure, but like you said, not fun for the drivers at all. Their hearts are pounding through their chest.
We're seeing how this experiment is playing out here, and how important it is to get that first run score. And try to get it as high as you possibly can, because if you are limited in how high you can rank on the second run by only getting 25th or higher, you're going to be facing a top guy in the 32, and that is going to shake up the whole story of competition.
Yep. Great point. Absolutely great point. Just get a score on the board. So a 95, but amongst these 8 drivers, all he can get, that's a great score. Congratulations, Justin Pollock. You wish you did that on your first run, because, he would rival that of Matt Field, and it would come down to, he had 38 for style. I believe Field had 39 for style, so he'd be sitting in second. But unfortunately, too little too late. Here we go, Adam LZ. I know all the LZ maniacs are out there. The Lizards. Can we call them the Lizards? Adam LZ fans, can we call them the Lizards? Here we go. Great looking car, but let's see if it's great looking in the competition and head-to-head. Adam LZ and the LZ Manufacturing, Nitto Tires, S15 Sylvia, coming down the mountain. Big addiction, past that front clip. Whoa, flirting with the dirt, and it comes on bound. Saves it. Wow, that could have been very ugly. Now coming into the keyhole. That second outside zone. the attitude of the vehicle, you see it just kind of lunging forward and rocking back and forth. Man, that kitty litter could have really sucked him in. He could have got pitted, but no. Comes out unscathed. That will be a score. Woo! He is wiping his brow. The LZ Lizards are going nuts. What do you think, Brian?
Well, you know, like we had a bit of a conservative initiation from the beginning, but then he really puts a lot of angle in the car, and good thing that he does because he narrowly goes off course, and a beautiful save there by Adam LZ. I mean, that was very close to an incomplete. If he would have gotten into the kitty litter, it would have been game over. So that is a good bit of defensive driving there from him, still making it look good, looking for the best positioning that he can get, but also taking this opportunity to get one final run in the books for tomorrow. And as long as he gets a score, he's going to be in competition. You got to give it up to him. This is a very pressure-filled moment for these drivers that have these incompletes, knowing that if I go out, I'm just giving away a spot.
Yeah, that was very hairy there as he almost, the kitty litter just almost sucked him in. Quicksand, but literally was quick enough, too quick for the quicksand. All right, LZ scores are coming in. Remember, Jonathan Nairn is next. We see the Oracle lights of Dean Carney as Nairn goes into the burnout box. And here they go as we take a look in the bird's eye view of the LZ Manufacturing, Sylvia.
That's where that save really came into play for him. Great job by him getting that done. But, you know, a bit of a pucker feeling there for all of us and his fans, as well as himself, I'd have to imagine. And there he goes. He's going to be
that's good.
Going into 26th position there.
That's good. All right, so LZ is in. He will be seeing head-to-head competition at 84. So, again, no better than that of 25. All right, Nairn back to the starting line. He does have a score, so he's going to try to better it. Nairn in this Injuku Racing S chassis, S14, and some fans pointed out no S13 in Formula Drift Pro competition. As Nairn comes ripping into that first front flip.
Oh no, we got our first one.
No, but he has a score.
He has a score.
He has a score. He's the only guy who has a score, but Nairn with an incomplete on a second run. I mean, so if the other drivers get higher than a 63, he will sit at 32nd. It seems that the car is, I mean, you know, I don't want to say there's a new car for him because I don't know if this is his old gray S14 that he's been campaigning in between his Shelby Mustangs as well, or what. But we saw Nairn, a rookie last year. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, he just got a little bit overextended there. You can see he's coming down with a lot of momentum. And as he gets to this section of the course, I think he basically was going for the save there. It may have gone off into the kitty litter. So it might have been a prudent thing for him to do in that particular situation. But as you said, Jared, he does have that score. It may be possible that he goes right to the 32nd spot, depending on how these other drivers play. But we still have 5 more drivers to go to finish things out. And, you know, some big names. We got Dean Carney coming up. And the remainder of these drivers need a score to be in tomorrow's competition.
That's right. Gordo, thanks for watching from Canada. As Dean Carnage Carney, Oracle Lighting, Dodge Viper. Shout out to Jonathan and Kaufman back at home in Teja, cheering them on. And let's see what we got here from Dean Carnage Carney. Again, a busy offseason for him. Let's see what we got. Courtney, I know you're watching at home as well. Shout out to you. Here we go. Dean Carnage Carney has an incomplete. This is a must, a do or die for Carnage. Initiates into that first front clip. The Nexon tires spinning around. He changed tire manufacturers. He was on a previous tire manufacturer for numerous years. He turns it back on, just needs to get a score on the board. Any issues he might be having, needs to work on it after this finish line. Drifts past the touch and go, and one more final flip. Looks like Dean Carnage Carney, evades potentially being knocked out. So that will be a score. We will see carnage in top 32.
And man, that thing is so fast.
Yeah.
Just going up the hill, an incredible amount of grip and horsepower. And good job here by Dean Carney, playing it safe, putting down a solid run here. And we'll probably look back at the night and figure out, how do I play this new qualifying strategy for the remainder of the rounds? He's going to find himself at in the bottom 8 mixed up with the remainder of these guys, but he's going to be in competition, and that's the most important thing. They want a fighting chance to go out there and beat their fellow competitors, and Dean Carney has done just that by solidifying his second run into the points and moving on into tomorrow's competition.
All right, let's see where Carnage lands halfway through our late 8. You can see Federico and that 599 in the back. You can also see our new driver Simon Olsen, his brand new Toyota Supra. And there it is, an 87 there for Dean Carney. 87 for Dean Carnage Carney in his Dodge Viper. So right now, Justin Pollock will slide into 25th position. Will somebody better that? Next up, Kyle the Menace Mohan on the start line. Mohan warming up his tires. Like I said, we didn't see him till late in the season last year. Chose to stay at home and stay safe, and we saw him in Texas. And here he is back for the 2021 season. Kyle Menace Mohan, Mazda Tricks. He's running that American Ethanol. Great to see him campaigning that. And looks like Sopa ready to send. The Lone Rotary, the last starfighter in Formula Drift competition. I know Mad Mike's watching. Mikey, how we doing? Got Mad Mike Drift Force going on. He's watching while he's got his own drift comp going down. Cheering on another Rotan Clan member. Here we go, a little wavering there. Not the prettiest there on the initiation as he got a little shimmy, but now he's dialing it in. Let's go, Mohan.
Come on, Kyle.
Kyle, put it together. Let's go. The 99 through the keyhole, flicks it out. Hammer down, throw the brick on it. Attaboy, Kyle Mohan.
Got it.
Yes, sir. That's what we needed. Rotan Clan ain't nothing to mess with. That's what's up. All right, so Mohan will fight to see another day.
Well, only one little scary moment here for a second. You see that front end starting to wash out, but Kyle does a great job of keeping it there, wrapping through that inside clip, and then the remainder of the course is really him just doing his job, gutting it out here, not letting the pressure affect him too much, taking that conservative approach and trying to find the best position that he can get, but also guaranteeing himself a position into the top 32 for tomorrow. So great job from Kyle. Beautiful overhead shot here as he comes driving through his own smoke line on this final transition. This is where he's going to lock it up right there as he passes through the finish line.
All right, so as Mohan finishes out, we can see, look at this, along for the ride up here, up in the smoke, tucked in, that right in the line, and just flirting with the edge of the course. That's where he needs to be. Really good job on that touch and go. The judges said, just hang your bumper over that rumble strip. And that's what he did. And I was joking. I said not the prettiest as in honor of the famous turn there with another rotary of Mad Mike. That's the only reason I said it. And it wasn't the prettiest as he bobbled it, but then he dialed it in.
I think we have so many new younger fans now that's in a different generation now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. So they could be like, why did you say that? That pops up still. It's like the Castro battle as well. That keeps popping up, Castro and Dean, and then also like here's American announcers, here's Japanese. And 78, a 78 for Mohan. Nice job. So he does have a score. He will be seeing competition. So when they have the parallels of American announcers and then of Japanese announcers, and it's me doing like really mellow, like just talking about the run, and then the Japanese, they just go off. But we've gone Richter, bro. Like it just takes the run, takes you.
In English, it's definitely not as cool.
Whatever. Okay. I mean, no, bro. It doesn't matter. You want it exciting. All right. So I'm understanding that unfortunately Jonathan Hurst might be having some issues with his Cash Racing G37. Oh man, it might be showing up very early on in this run as Hurst. Come on, hold it together. We saw Taylor Holt, no power steering. Hurst. Oh boy. Oh, got me right in the side. Let's go, Hurst. Bring it around outside of the keyhole. Whatever problems you might have, let's fix them after the finish line. Get a score on the board. The Cash Racing G37 fights for it, and he gets it. That will be a score for Jonathan Hurst. 2 more drivers left, the brand new newcomer Simon Olsen and Federico Sharifa, but let's look at our Air Force replay.
Well, that is a big, long e-brake pull. Then he kind of rolls into it. You can see he doesn't get back on the throttle till well after the inside clip, almost near the touch and go coming down the hill. This is definitely a situation where he is not experiencing a fully functional vehicle. And you can kind of see he is fighting the car a little bit here, and big ups to him for managing to get through this. It got scary there for a moment, and you never know when the car is just going to break down on you. And if it were to break down anywhere between the start line and that finish line right there, it would be night-night for Jonathan Hurst. But it looks like he did enough to move on, get a slot in the top 32. We'll see what the judges think about the score. And he will have time to go back and fix that vehicle. We've got another nighttime appearance tomorrow, so drivers can get some good rest, work on the vehicles, make sure they're ready for the first competition of the year.
Cash rules everything around me. It's a second Wu-Tang quote I've thrown out right now.
What was the other one?
I said it earlier. I can't remember what it was. I just blacked out. I forgot. I did say one, though. I said something ain't nothing to mess with. I said something. Oh, Rotan Clan ain't nothing to mess with. 74 for Jonathan Hurst. 74 for Jonathan Hurst. And obviously I'm not going to say explicit. There's a family show. Right. So I can't go on the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with. You know what I mean? Right. Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it clean. Speaking of keep it clean, clean looking Supra from Norway. Simon Olsen, a Formula Drift rookie. Great looking car. Love the high vis. The Maximum Driftcast boys talking about this vehicle, and the same graphics designer that did the hot dog crusher, Corey Hosford. Speaking of hot dogs, let's hot dog this one into our first inside clip, punching that thing out of the way. Now making his way up the hill. Simon Olsen.
There we
now
go.
into that first outside cone. Ooh, very shallow. Does not get to the second.
That's all right. That's all right.
You know, you just want him to make it through. This is a big hill to challenge. Showing up here to just this iconic track with a brand new car. Yes, sir.
There we
Simon
go.
Olsen.
There we go.
Attaboy. Attaboy Olsen.
Come on, full field tomorrow.
Yep, let's see everybody run head to head. And what gets interesting here is we have some spotters over here that are taking a look at, because, you know, you have to think, as you said, you know, here's some newbies, here's some new drivers, and they're going to be going against the top qualifiers.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, this is going to be something that people will think about through the night, but also tomorrow and how they put together their pre-tandem practice runs. So super important for new drivers coming into the series to figure out who they're going to be running against. Tons of video on those guys, but not as much on these guys to the guys that they may be facing that are higher qualified.
That's what's up.
And how to deal with that. So, yeah, that is what's up.
Staying out of the cold?
And the heat. And, and doing good, too, at the same time.
I would hope so. I would hope so. What's your snack of choice right now, Ryan?
Right now, I'm not doing very good on snacks, I'll be honest.
Yeah, your snack game is weak.
It's poor.
It's real poor.
Yeah, it's basically been bars. So I've been lower frequency.
Yeah, I need you at least a 9. 73 for Simon Olsen. 73. So right now, JTP in that number 25 spot. Just after him would be Dean Carney, and then we get into Adam LZ. Then Kyle Mohan. Jonathan Hurst, Simon Olsen, Jonathan Nairn, but we'll see where the Fiorella, as the vehicle is called, as Federico Sharifo.
This is it.
This is it. Yeah, Michael McDonald. I'ma be there. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. You know, up and over.
I've always loved that impression that you do.
I know you love that.
Yeah.
This is my Michael McDonald impression. Give it away. Federico Sharifo here, about to throw down our final driver of qualifying. The Men's Journal knockout qualifying format making its debut, and it's great to see Fedi back in the mix. Come on, Federico, we need you there. This now iconic car in the video game. Oh, look at this, nice job. Makes his way up the hill, rips into the outside zone, no! All right, okay, that's one tire off. That will be a deduction. As now comes back down that triple F drifting department. Stay in it, pin it to win it, Fedi. Got it. You got a full field, baby.
That's a boy.
That's a, did you just give birth? That's a boy.
Good job,
He gave birth to a top 32 entrance. That's right. That's what he did. Yep.
Car definitely seems a little bit more, grippier and nimble. I'd love to see this thing at full potential, but great job by him. Another driver not succumbing to the pressure. There's quite a bit of it here. You don't want to be the lone guy out of the top 32 on double incomplete. So right there, it got scary for a moment, but just drops one tire and is able to secure a score here for our final position. Where will that be? But he will move on into the top 32 for tomorrow with a lot to think about. And the matchups decided, we'll be posting the matchups, and I believe we'll probably also have a preliminary graphic to show you as well, testing the top 32. As we have now come to the end of qualifying, Jared. So the first round, we debut this new qualifying format. What do you think?
I liked it. I like whittling it down. I think qualifying is a great element of drifting, but as you always say, the essence of drifting is head-to-head competition. The quicker we can get to that and expedite and get to that, I think that makes sense.
So four-hour qualifying is not good with you?
I admire it. I like, finding out the caliber of driving. You get familiar with the course, but these drivers had 4 hours of practice. Right. So, I mean, you really think they have to get it done. And there we go. Dress for success. Number 76 is his score. 76 is score. Puts him in a 29th position. So, Ryan, I think, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I mean, it's an element that, we've sensationalized over the years, and with other motorsports, if it's Formula One, if it's NASCAR, IndyCar, qualifying is an element that does need to happen, given, every track and their setup. But I think the Men's Journal knockout qualifying format, I think it was a success.
You need a mechanism to seed the bracket. We've done that here tonight. We're going to have 32 drivers, which I think it's been a couple of years since that's been the case. And I'm really looking forward to it. Congratulations to everybody that was able to lay it out. And here's how that final 8 panned out. You can see Pollock 95. That would have been a number 1 qualifier, basically. So great job by him and the rest of the drivers there, all getting scores, making their way into the top 32.
And there it is. So, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow. I believe we have some times, and we'll lay out the bracket. But, again, come join us. I know there were a lot of pre-sold tickets, so we thank you guys and gals for coming in and joining us here physically at Road Atlanta. And, I really enjoyed the knockout qualifying format. I'm ready to have an adult libation and hang out, and we'll be back here tomorrow for some exciting run. It's great to see everybody.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, 762 days since the last time we were here at Road Atlanta. The first day has been awesome. Thanks to all the fans for coming out, and there you go. There is your top 32 matchups preliminarily as we take a look at how the drivers seated themselves. Anything stand out to you right out of the gate?
We got an all-Norwegian battle, Osbo and rookie Olsen. I'm seeing, Vaughn versus Federico, LZ versus Burkett, Forsberg and Carney.
Wow.
Turk and Mohan, Gucci and Pollock, that's going to be a good one. You got an all-Japanese battle, Yoshihara and Taguchi. Chelsea Denofa and Taylor Hull, if he can get his car running up and good. Sorensen and Beecham, 2 young cats. I mean, all of it. It's all great. It's all great. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Join us tomorrow, round 1 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. On behalf of Ryan Sage, we're going to get Lorette Nickel in the building tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you to our judges, Chris. Thank you to Brian and Ryan. And this is the Royal Purple Road to the Championship presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Jared Deanna. We'll see you tomorrow where we're going to send it Atlanta. There are times. Top 32, 1 p.m. PDT halftime show. Top 16. We'll find out who wins round 1 of the 18th season. And here are some highlights from qualifying. We'll see you tomorrow. Formula Drift Nation.